Chapter 81 Part 1 Feng Jiao lowered her eyes and saw Ling Huzi Chaptier's crimson-red face, the corner of her lips slightly raised. Big brother Z Chaptier, I didn't think that you would also like to read secret Tay chapterniques in bed. Feng Jiao smiled and teased. Ugh. Ling Huzi Chaptier hurriedly put away a stack of books. His handsome face was flushed red, showing that this was the first time he had encountered Su Chapter an embarrassing situation. Feng Jiao thought. So it turned out that Ling Huzi Chaptier was also very sulky. Big brother Z Chaptier, can I ask you a question? Feng Jiao looked at him with a glint of interest in her eyes. What problem? Ling Huzi Chaptier stared at her in a daze. She felt her scalp tingling, not knowing what question the little girl was going to ask him. Big brother Z Chaptier, WI Chapter 1, did you try with the loving gestures? Feng Jiao asked in interest, not feeling the slightest bit embarrassed. Her shamelessness was comparable to an ancient city wall, coming out of his mother's womb. This was the first time Ling Huzi Chaptier encountered Su Chapter, a straightforward woman. How dare she ask him that? The corner of his mouth twitch-chaptered. You are not allowed to ask, you little girl. If it wasn't for the fact that when Xing Yuan was his good friend, that she was his fiancée, he really would have had the impulse to cut her down. What little girl? I'm already a teenager. Sigh, forget it. Let me guess, you should still be a virgin. Feng Jiao muttered. His originally bright P-chapter blossom eyes suddenly turned gloomy as he roared. I am a virgin, what about it? Isn't it just a casual chapterette? Why are you so mean to others? Feng Jiao pouted and said in an aggrieved tone. Her eyes were misty, as if she was about to cry. I'm sorry. Ling Huzi Chaptier thought that he was a little too fierce, so he apologized with a frown. What about virgin? You don't have to shout. Seeing him apologize, Feng Jiao's mood became a little better, but she was still angry, thus she kept berating him. Alright, don't be angry. How about this? Here's a bottle of hair moisturizer for you. You can use it to make your long hair darker and brighter. Ling Huzi Chaptier felt that he was in the wrong, so he blinked his eyes and took out a small and exquisite white jade bottle with ore chapterids drawn on it from a medicine box. Thank you. Feng Jiao immediately smiled and accepted it. Ling Huzi Chaptier saw the radiance that flickered in her eyes, like a starry river drilled through the pit chapter black night sky. He thought to himself, she is a pure and beautiful woman. Why are you looking at me so foolishly? Feng Jiao realized that Ling Huzi Chaptier was looking at her, hence she smiled. For a moment, Ling Huzi Chaptier was startled. Even his breathing stopped for a few seconds. This kind of gentle and smiling Feng Jiao stunned him for a few seconds, and even caused his breathing to stop for a few seconds. Feng Jiao extended her beautiful, jade-like fingers and shook them in front of his eyes. Her clear eyes, under the contrast of the slanted sunlight, shined with an enchapterenting light. Her tender and beautiful red lips that were just in chapters away from EA chapter other were like the tempting peeled flesh of a lit chaptery fruit, captivating. Ling Huzi Chaptier suddenly regained his senses when he smelled the fragrant scent that was coming from her. Seeing the moving red lips in front of him, his handsome face once again returned to its normal color. 2 red clouds flew up from his face, and his heartbeat became even faster, as if his chapteress would jump out at any moment. He closed his eyes, not daring to look at them, not daring to think about them. What's wrong? Is it because your eyes are uncomfortable? Big brother Z Chaptier, tell me, WHI chapter of the many bottles is I healing? Feng Jiao thought that his eyes were uncomfortable. Seeing him suddenly close his eyes and frowning in pain, she thought that was the reason why he thought that way. Indeed, this little girl had the potential to drive a saint crazy. Ling Huzi Chaptier immediately opened his eyes, seeing that she was already looking for a bottle of medicine. She immediately extended his hand to grab hers, not allowing her to randomly flip through. Her hand felt so soft that it made his face even more uncomfortable. Big brother Z Chaptier, what are you grabbing my hand for? Your eyes don't hurt anymore? Sigh, it's really strange. Why was Shin Qinghan not back yet? Ling Huzi Chaptier also realized that he was being too rude. The girl in front of him was actually his good friend Wen Xingyuan's fiancée, so he bit his lips in annoyance, and thought to himself, what happened to him just now? Just as he was about to release his grip, Shin Qinghan had already rushed in front of Ling Hu's chapter, and like an arrow that had just left the bow. You took advantage of my absence to seduce my eldest senior brother. Then, without caring about whether it was good or bad, Shin Qinghan slapped Feng Zhiyao. Feng Zhiyao felt that she had been wrongly accused. Damn, she hit her in front of a pretty boy. Then she would cry in front of the man. It would make the beautiful man's heart a chapter. It would make her so angry that she would die. Woo big brother Z chapter. Why is this little junior of yours a barking bit chapter? Woo, big brother Z chapter, my face hurts. Sure, it would be good to chapter range a slap for a pretty boy's pity. But she, Meishi, would always settle debts later on. Feng Zhiyao too chaptered her little face with a hand, and the tears in her eyes started to fall like pearls with their strings cut. Little junior sister, she and I have not done anything shameful. Don't you dare wrongly accuse a good person. Ling Hu chapter angrily roared at Shin Qinghan. Eldest senior brother, you actually treated me like this for this shameless girl. Previously, I believed that there was nothing going on between us. But you were holding her hand just now, and I saw it. Eldest senior brother. How can you only like her and not me? Woo! Shin Qinghan was so angry that she started crying. That bad woman lied to her, and now she even called her a bit chapter. This infuriated her to death. She really wanted to transform into a mad dog and bite this vixen to death. Outside, Zongjing Xiaoqing could not what chapter any longer. Junior sister, you have no proof. Don't ruin the innocence of this girl. Zongjing Xiaoqing frowned. He was sad that his junior sister cared so much chapter about his senior brother. Third senior brother, this is a matter between me and eldest senior brother. You don't need to worry about it. Shin Qinghan turned around and shouted at Zongjing Xiaoqing. Woo big brother Z chapter. Feng Zhiyao acutely detected the trace of impatience in Ling Hu Z chapter's eyes, and knew that Ling Hu Z chapter was starting to hate Shin Qinghan. Thus, she decided to try even harder. Big brother Z chapter, my face is so chaptery. Is it because your junior sister has something dirty on her hand that it makes me chapter? Thus she really did put on airs and clawed at her face twice. The side of her face that had been hit was now full of blisters. Shin Qinghan, what poison did you poison her with? Ling Hu Z chapter raised her eyes and looked at Feng Zhiyao's left chapterique. His P chapter blossom eyes were filled with dark clouds. Eldest senior brother. This has nothing to do with me. There must be something wrong with her skin. I didn't drug her. Shin Qinghan was also startled, although she really wanted to drug him, but before she could do anything, her face was already like that. Big brother Z chapter, now that my face has become like this, Xing Yuan will definitely not want me anymore. You know, yesterday I heard that he took a woman away from the Blue Festival's banquet, and even said that she's his lover. This time, my face is so ugly, he definitely doesn't want me anymore. Woo! Feng Zhiyao sobbed and threw herself into Ling Hu Z chapter's embrace. With just a few pimples, she was crying like this. Ling Hu Z chapter was embarrassed, but with Su chapter a soft and warm body in his embrace, the corner of his lips unconsciously raised upwards. When Zongjing Xiaoqing thought of the scene in the Blue Festival, he felt that this junior sister of his was too unruly and willful. Shin Qinghan never thought that the first woman senior brother hugged in his arms would actually be Feng Zhiyao, not the foolish junior sister who loved him dearly. Shin Qinghan felt as if her eyes were being blinded by something. That embrace that should have belonged to her, yet mockingly turned into someone else's embrace. A bone-piercing, ice-cold pain surged from the bottom of her heart. A trace of bone-piercing pain tore through the only emotion in her heart. And just like that, the feeling was torn apart. A chapteril rose from the bottom of her heart as it enveloped her entire body. The trace of gentleness that suddenly appeared in the eldest senior brother's eyes was like a dull knife that cut into her heart. It was painful, very painful. She staggered a step and almost fell down, but luckily Zongjing Xiaoqing caught her sinking body. Third junior brother, please take your junior sister away from here. I want to help her restore her appearance. When Ling Hu Z chapter saw the tear stains on Shin Qinghan's face, although his heart chaptered a little, he thought of a saying. If it's going to be long pain, then make it shorter. He wished for Shin Qinghan to give up on him, and third junior brother seemed to be interested in her. Feng Jiao laid in front of Ling Huzi chapter's chapterist, her small shoulders still shaking, but she wasn't crying. Shin Qinghan, I originally didn't have any intention to deal with you, but you slapped me for no reason. No, I'm not leaving. Shin Qinghan felt that she was wrongly accused. She had not poisoned Feng Jiao at all. How could they not believe their junior sister who had been together for so long? How could they not believe an outsider? Junior martial sister, let's go. Zongjing Xiaoqing wanted to hold her up. No, don't two-chapter me. Shin Qinghan suddenly seemed to understand something. It must be that eldest senior brother had given her to the third senior brother, who liked her. That must be it. Little junior apprentice sister, eldest senior brother is angry. Let's go out for now. Long live the LOL summoning. Zongjing Xiaoqing kindly advised her. Unexpectedly, Shin Qinghan's little face stiffened as she said coldly, Third senior brother, I have always treated you as my brother. Don't waste any more time thinking about me. Truly, the person I have always liked is my eldest senior brother. Third senior brother, please don't chapter race after me. Zongjing Xiaoqing never thought that his doting junior sister would actually reject him in front of so many people, and even reject so resolutely. No, after liking her for so many years, how could he just give up? Junior sister, I know you like eldest brother, but you can't stop me from liking you. After Zongjing Xiaoqing finished speaking, a tear dropped from the corner of his eye, and he walked out the door alone. What an infatuated man. Chapter 81 Part 2 Feng Jiao thought about the Yi Weiyang who was infatuated with her. And thus, she hurriedly pushed Ling Hu Zichaptir away with her face flushed red. Ling Hu Zichaptir was stunned for a moment. His hands struck nothing but air, and the depths of his eyes flashed with a sense of loss. Junior martial sister, third junior martial brother has deep feelings for you. How did you anger him to leave? Ling Hu Zichaptir raised the corner of his fiery red robe, and elegantly sat down as he said with a reproachful tone. Yes, he is very fond of me. What about you? Elder brother? Have you seen the deep affection I have for you? Shin Qinghan's fingernails almost dug into her palms. Unaware of the pain in her heart, WA chapter far surpassed the pain in her flesh. Qinghan, if you don't go find third junior brother, I'll go look for him. Ling Hu Zichaptir thought they could not be like this anymore. He quickly left the room. Feng Jiao saw the opportunity. She immediately stepped in front of Shin Qinghan and slapped her 10 times. You must have destroyed your own face just now. Shin Qinghan was furious. She wanted to retaliate and beat her up, but Feng Jiao had grabbed her hand with immense strength. It was also at this time that Shin Qinghan finally understood. She was really stupid to actually be ambushed by her. That's right. So what? I bet you that your eldest senior brother will never like you. You will never have another chapterance. Feng Jiao lifted her hands. Her chapteriques were covered with spore-like pimples, and she thought to herself, the self-torture method was still very practical. That's right, she was bad, but WHI chapter woman and night demon wasn't bad. Furthermore, she was one of the 4 beauties of the night demon. As the saying, if a woman wasn't bad, a man wouldn't love her. She was bad for reason, while the guys were completely captivated by her. No, you bad woman, I'm going to fight it out with you. Since Shen Qinghan had grown up in the Pilking Valley, she naturally knew martial arts. Feng Jiao laughed coldly. What do you want? What are you going to use to fight with me? Do you know what your eldest senior brother just said to me when he held my hand? Could it be that eldest brother wants to take you as his wife? When Shin Qinghan thought about this possibility, her eyes dimmed, like a ball deflating. What do you think? Didn't you see that your eldest senior brother was still holding on to me just now? In terms of words, Feng Jiao would not lose to her. Now that she had made a blemish on the truth. No, it can't be. I don't believe he has not known you for long. Yes, it must be you, this demoness, trying to seduce my eldest senior brother. I want to kill you. If she killed Feng Jiao, he would only like her. When Shin Qinghan thought of this, she felt that it was extremely true. She flung a 9-section whip that was meandering like a snake at Feng Jiao. Damn, her killing intent was so heavy. Feng Jiao moved the red wooden chapter over and blocked the attack. In the next second, her body had already flown out. She was a rookie in martial arts. It was better for her to escape first. Therefore, one of them used the light skill to escape, and the other used the light skill to chapter race after them. Ziyun quickly help. Feng Zhiao jumped up onto the shaft of the carriage that Wan Sanzi was driving. Eldest miss? Ziyun was shocked. The young miss's face could only be described as a Rakshasi's face. She almost vomited all the food she ate. Don't block the way. Shen Qinghan's eyes were red from anger. She extended her leg, wanting to kick Ziyun away. Little junior sister, you can't. Two pleasant voices came from behind Shen Qinghan. Big brother Zichaptir, not only does your little junior sister want to ruin my looks, she also wants to take my life. Woo woo. She vowed that she would do her best to learn martial arts. Shen Qinghan apologized. Seeing that Feng Zhiyao's face was covered with spore-like pimples, a trace of apology flashed past his eyes, and he reprimanded Shen Qinghan. Why do you want me to apologize? The pile of things on her face was brought up by herself. It's had nothing to do with me. Eldest senior brother, I'm your junior sister. Don't you believe me? Third senior brother, do you think so too? Shen Qinghan did not know how to deal with it. She clenched her teeth and her eyes turned red. At that moment, she wanted nothing more than to kill Feng Zhiyao to vent her hatred. Junior martial sister, did you really not do this? Then why did you use the 9-section whip to chapter race her just now? Ling Huzi Chaptir looked at Shen Qinghan in disbelief. I didn't chapter race after her. She was the one who slapped me first. Look, all of you take a look. She raised her hand and pointed at her face. This bad woman had definitely hit her face with a score-chaptering 5-finger mark. Qinghan, stop lying. Your face is so fair. The corner of Ling Huzi Chaptir's mouth twitch-chaptered. How did his junior sister's chapter actor become so bad? She even dared to use Su Chapter, a vile method to frame someone? Hearing Ling Huzi Chaptir's words, Feng Zhiyao smirked in her heart. If she had used inner force to slap someone, then that person would definitely be in deep pain. And the person being beaten would only feel grief, but the person's face would not be marked at all. This also explained why after so many slaps, Shen Qinghan only felt that there was no blood coming out from the corner of her mouth. Indeed, 20 years of inner strength was not for nothing. That's right. Junior sister, I see that your face is flushed. It doesn't seem like you were slapped. Zongjing Xiaoqing looked at Feng Zhiyao apologetically. What a beautiful girl, however. She had been hurt to Su Chapter an extent by his junior sister. Qinghan quickly apologized to her. Ling Huzi Chaptir hoped that he could persuade his junior sister to apologize to Feng Zhiyao. Big brother Zichaptir, there's no need to apologize. Just make her kneel down and kowtow 3 times. Shen Qinghan used a concealed weapon to shave off her dancing dress, causing her to have no chapteroise but to perform the shocking naked dance in the water. This debt, how could it be settled with just an apology? Therefore, Feng Zhiyao shot a glance at Ziyun, telling her to shoot a concealed weapon at her knee. Ziyun had no chapteroise but to follow along with it and punish Shen Qinghan together with it. I won't kneel to you, Shen Qinghan said with determination. She stood up straight with her 9-section whip in her hand, like a loose bamboo. Ziyun quickly helped Miss Shen to kneel down. Feng Zhiyao said angrily as she raised her hand to rub her bumpy little face. Damn, don't be disfigured. This powder had a time limit. Yes, miss. Ziyun bent down and picked up 2 small stones, and threw it at Shen Qinghan's knees. However, Zongjing Xiaoqing, who had always been looking at Shen Qinghan, suddenly noticed Ziyun's movements. Thus, he leapt towards Shen Qinghan's back even faster than Ziyun and hugged him. His goal was naturally to block 2 stones for her. But Shen Qinghan didn't want to be hugged by Zongjing Xiaoqing, so she roared, "Don't hug me." Feng Zhiyao lowered her eyes and sneered. She quickly moved to Shen Qinghan's side and threw a cockroach chapter that he caught while running into Shen Qinghan's mouth. This attack from the east to the west, she was using the perfect move. Ah! Shen Qinghan never thought that she would actually give the first time to a cockroach chapter. The first time was when she swallowed a cockroach chapter. She felt angry, humiliated, and disgusted. She immediately vomited out the cockroach chapter. Miss, aren't you going too far? Seeing his junior sister's pale face, Zongjing Xiaoqing was angry. I am not as Mu chapter as your junior. Besides, I didn't make her eat a cockroach chapter. Didn't she throw up all right? Also, WHI chapter one of your eyes saw me put the cockroach chapter in her mouth. Feng Ziyao shamelessly argued. Ziyin laughed in her heart. How could the young miss think of Su chapter a despicable method? However, if someone else were to use this move, then perhaps it would be a dirty trick. However, when the young miss used this move, it actually made her seem simple and innocent. Being refuted by Feng Ziyao in Su chapter a manner, the corner of Ling Hu Zichaptir's crimson-red lips slightly rose, a trace of extreme doting flashing past his eyes. Elder senior apprentice brother, you saw it too. It was this bad woman who laid the cockroach chapter on me. Shen Qinghan was so angry that she vomited blood. Su chapter a dirty cockroach chapter was about to disgust her to death. Junior sister you? Does it matter? Zongjing Shaoqing looked in the direction of Feng Ziyao, and then turned back to Feng Ziyao. Third senior brother, help me kill this bad woman. Shen Qinghan was vomiting so quickly that she had no strength left. She raised her hand and pointed in Feng Zhiyao's direction. Third junior brother, little junior sister can be considered to have learned her lesson. First, bring her to Earth Room 1 to rest. Ling Hu Zichaptir shook his head at the little junior sister's words. The little junior sister seemed to have become a stranger to him. She wasn't like this before. I don't. Before I even finished speaking the 3 words, with a swoosh, that extremely thin golden thread wrapped around Shen Qinghan's slender wrist. Eldest brother, why? Zongjing Shaoqing asked suspiciously. If you order her to sleep, you won't be so resistant to having her in your arms. You grew up together with her, don't you understand her? Ling Hu Zichaptir said indifferently as he retracted the golden thread. Then don't you want to pursue the matter of her throwing the cockroach chapter into the mouth of your junior? Zongjing Shaoqing never thought that his eldest senior brother would actually help Feng Ziyao to Su chapter an extent. I already said that she received a lesson. Why are you still so bitter? This is an excellent opportunity for you to pursue your junior sister. You better take good care of it. Feng Ziyao said this in a crooked way, but she managed to convince Zongjing Shaoqing to do so. What do you mean? Zongjing Shaoqing did not understand, and so he asked doubtfully. Come with me. Feng Ziyao said to him. Seems like she would have to pass down the knowledge to the sultry beauty herself. It's like this. That way. Then, Feng Zhiyao's words caused Zongjing Shaoqing's face to flush red. First, no matter what she said to him, it was the faint fragrance of her body that filled his nose. Furthermore, Feng Zhiyao said something that was similar to raw rice cooking. So how could Zongjing Shaoqing not blush red to the ears? Then his nose began to bleed from his gorgeous appearance. When Ling Hu Zichaptir saw Zongjing Shaoqing's blushing face, he felt a little uncomfortable. Then, when he frowned and saw Zongjing Shaoqing's bloody nose, he probably guessed what was looking at. Therefore his handsome face darkened as he urged. Hurry up and bring your junior sister away. Only after Zongjing Shaoqing wiped off the blood from his nose and carried Shen Qinghan away, did he calm down. What did you say to my third junior brother just now? He was damn curious. Nothing. I just told you a few things about how to deal with that little junior girl of yours who is infatuated with you. That's all. Feng Zhiyao raised her hand and gently lifted the hair in front of her chapterist. Then she instructed Ziyun. The sun is setting, Ziyun. Let's return to the residence. You're not allowed to leave now. I have something to ask you. Glimmers danced in Ling Hu Zichaptir's eyes, so he called out to her. Ziyun, wait for me in the carriage. Feng Zhiyao instructed Ziyun. Ziyun went to the carriage to wait for her, leaving Feng Zhiyao and Ling Hu Zichaptir staring at EA chapter other. What did you want to say by stopping me? Feng Zhiyao asked. She had to get into the carriage to get rid of a pile of acne on her face. In the future, don't say anything to my third junior brother that will make him blush. He's very simple. Ling Hu Zichaptir said something that made Feng Zhiyao spit blood. Zongjing Shaoqing was the second prince of the Xiliang kingdom. Are you done? Feng Zhiyao's lips twitch-chaptered as she asked. Is something on your face? Ling Hu Zichaptir lifted his hand and gently two-chaptered her bumpy chapteriques. No. Don't talk nonsense. Of course, Feng Zhiyao would not admit it no matter what. If that's the case, then we have to deal with it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be unsightly to leave behind scars. If you can't get married in the future, don't blame me for not reminding you. Ling Huzi Chaptir looked at her in ridicule. What? Does it leave scars? At first, Feng Jiao was a little afraid, but when she thought about it, this was just an exaggeration. She remembered that after she had been reborn, her body seemed to have recovery abilities. That's right. Do you want me to help you deal with the beans on your face? Ling Huzi Chaptir raised the bottle in his hand. Who knows when he took it out? There's no need, I won't trouble you any longer. I'll be taking my leave. Feng Jiao once again looked up at the sky and rejected. Ling Huzi Chaptir suddenly took a step forward, blocking her way. Tomorrow morning, third junior brother, junior sister and I will leave the Xianyang. And tomorrow? Would you like to see me off at the Tenli Pavilion tomorrow? He walked so fast. Of course, she had to come and send them off on their way. She had to make some gifts for Shen Qinghan that night at night. Okay, this time you are here specifically because of my illness, so of course I will go to the Tenli Pavilion to send you off. Feng Jiao slightly smiled. The fragrance of the nearby pea chapter blossoms assaulted his nostrils, and the fragrance of her sleeves permeated the air. All right, be careful on your way back. Ling Huzi Chaptir's gaze landed on Feng Jiao's body. As the sun was setting in the west, the entire world was dyed in the orange color of sunset, and the multicolored light enveloping her body was extremely dazzling. When his gaze slid into her eyes, he was unable to shift his gaze away. Just what kind of woman was she? He should have clearly hated her. Furthermore, when she used those methods on his junior sister, he didn't even have the slightest intention to blame her. He even felt that what she did was the right thing to do. As he chaptered her carriage right away, he suddenly felt that he wished to see her at the 10-mile pavilion as soon as possible tomorrow. However, what was wrong with his mood? Why couldn't he make sense of it? The shadow of the carriage became smaller and smaller, turning into a black dot before disappearing. Chapter 81 Part 3, Eldest Martial Brother, Did that lady leave? Zongjing Xiaoqing asked. Ling Huzi Chaptir suddenly heard Zongjing Xiaoqing's voice and suddenly turned around. Is junior sister asleep yet? Well, she was tired today. Sleep is good. Zongjing Xiaoqing looked down at the sword at his waist, the purple tassels flying around. He toyed with the tassels for a bit, and then said indifferently, Wake her up in the morning. It just so happens that she woke up and we left Xianyang together, returning to Pilking Valley. Ling Huzi Chaptir only felt that he had to return to Pilking Valley in order to sort out his complicated emotions. Big Senior, wasn't that girl your fiancée just now? I remember you saying last time. Why is it that when Xing Yuan didn't want her again? What exactly happened between the three of you? Zongjing Xiaoqing asked suspiciously. The girl that when Xing Yuan took away at the Blue Festival's banquet is his beloved. As for what Miss Feng was thinking just now, I cannot say. Ling Huzi Chaptir said in a cold voice. He didn't know why he didn't want to admit that he was actually a little jealous that when Xing Yuan had Su Chaptir a beautiful and intelligent fiancée. At the moment, he had only answered Zongjing Xiaoqing. Eldest senior brother, do you feel that this Miss Feng has a body similar to that of Miss Chu? Zongjing Xiaoqing remembered that he saw her huge and enchapterenting 36D cup, so he once again said this with a flushed face. It was because the naked dance in the water the other day by Miss Chu had shocked him greatly, and at that moment, all he could think of was Lady Chu's 36D cup. Are they similar? Impossible? Their appearances and bodies are completely opposite from EA Chapter Other. Ling Huzi Chaptir was unable to link Feng Jiao and Miss Chu no matter what, so he lightly shook his head to reject Zongjing Xiaoqing's guess. Oh, Zongjing Xiaoqing nodded, but he still insisted on this idea in his heart. Suddenly, he felt that he was a little crazy. He obviously liked to make things difficult for the cute little junior sister. Why did he suddenly care about other girls before? Third junior brother, I know you have liked the junior sister for a long time. Take good care of her in the future. If you bully her, I won't hold back. Good, his junior was his master's only daughter. That was why Ling Huzi Chaptir was warning Zongjing Xiaoqing like this. All right, I will. Zongjing Xiaoqing nodded his head and agreed. Yes, he had liked the little junior sister for a long time, but the junior sister had always kept on fighting with the senior brother, and had never had any feelings for him nor any feelings for him. He was also very depressed at times. He was from the imperial family, had a home car, first-rate chapter actor, and was a popular candidate for husband for a young noble girl. However, the junior sister completely disregarded his infatuation. That's good. Let's have a drink together at the inn. Ling Hu Zichaptir left first and walked towards the Feng Yin Hotel. Zongjing Xiaoqing looked at the dazzling pea chapter blossoms on the side of the road, and couldn't help but recall that beautiful and moving little face once again. He shook his head, and told himself that he liked his junior sister. The other women step aside. Third junior brother, what are you waiting for? If you don't want to drink it, I'll drink it all. It was Ling Hu Zichaptir's playful voice, calling him with the 1,000-mile sound transmission Te Chapter Neek. Zongjing Xiaoqing stretch chaptered and twisted his neck, doing some mental resear chapter before finally two-chaptering the ground with his toes, and flying towards Feng Yin Hotel. Feng Jilin had been arranged to live in the Juhua Palace. The Juhua Palace was a small palace in the imperial harem. It was a very small and quiet place located in the southwest corner of the Jade Forest Garden. It was a two-way courtyard. After passing through a wide and empty courtyard, she arrived at the main hall, Chapteranson Hall. WHI chapter had a small garden behind it. On both sides were service halls, and on the south was Xiaohua Pavilion, where Imperial Consort Huang lived during the summer. The front poor chapter of the main hall, and the two side halls connected with the back poor chapter of Xiaohua Pavilion to form a courtyard, similar to the courtyard in Beijing. In front of the Chapteranson Hall were two giant saffron trees. They bore a plethora of orange-yellow fruits. WHI chapter were especially alluring along with the verdant leaves. Within the courtyard, the osmanthus and chapterary blossoms shone on EA chapter other, blooming and flourishing. Clusters of golden flowers interweaved between the leaves, either white and pure, or pink and young, filled with a fragrant. Seeing it from afar, she felt intoxicated and relaxed. But after Feng Jilin looked at the courtyard for a while, she felt angry. The imperial concubine Duan had actually arranged Su chapter a small courtyard for him. No, she wouldn't be discouraged. When the emperor summons her to sleep, she'll try her best to please the emperor and allow herself to be promoted to a consort. Right now she, a small noble madam, could only live in Su chapter a small courtyard. Although the scenery was not bad, it was still far from the house she imagined. Young master, this is the house that you live in. Please follow this servant to the Guanju Palace's queen to show your gratitude. She was Nanny Rong, the one sent over by the imperial concubine Duan to serve Feng Jilin. What? She had to thank the old woman for living in Su chapter a small house that was like a sparrow's house. However, she had to go. Her current level was several levels lower than hers. Hibiscus, the rainbow sparrow, quickly get the young master chapter ranged. Nanny Rong said as she swept a glance at the two girls behind Feng Jilin. Feng Jilin was so angry that she actually ran away, leaving her with only Zhuer to trust. However, no matter how vexed she was, she still had to follow the rules of the imperial harem. Feng Jilin closed her eyes. She encouraged herself, if she wanted to clear a bloody path in the palace, she had to use her own chapter reaming. So she had to endure it. Persistence was victory. Only then did Feng Jilin get supported to chapter range her clothes, when rewards from the various palace maids arrived. Zhuer and Kaik opened one of the large boxes. The box was filled with gold, silver, and silks. Kaik was a palace maid. Once it saw that the box belonged to Chapteran Palace's concubine Xian, it spoke up. Congratulations, young master. This is a reward from Master Xian. Zhuer also happily said, congratulations, third young Mississippi. Unexpectedly, just as she finished speaking, Nanny Rong coldly reprimanded her. There is no third miss here. There is only noble Madame Lin. You must call her little mistress from now on. Zhuer nodded her head thinking, the palace is so troublesome. When Feng Jilin saw Zhuer hanging her head, she sighed in her heart. In the future, she had to be careful. Then she glanced at the rewards and smiled as the inmate carried them into the warehouse to register them. Then, she followed Nanny Rong to Guanju Palace to express her gratitude. It was just that along the way, she felt a little apprehensive. She wondered if the old lady from Guanju Palace would cause trouble for her. Feng Jiao sat on the horse carriage, then used the medicine-soaked brocade handkerchief to wipe her face, restoring her smooth, snow-white face. Then she and Ziyin returned to the Prime Minister's mansion together. After dinner, she heard from Hongmi that Bai Wanting had already come out of Cold Fall Yard, and even called her over to lecture. Hongmi, what did the Aunt Bai of the Emerald Bamboo Pavilion say to you? Why are you so upset all night? Feng Jiao asked as she held an embroidery tighten and drew an embroidered pattern. Bai Wanting had been brought down and had finally become the legal wife, but now she had become a concubine. In other words, she was still a concubine. Reporting to eldest miss, Aunt Bai wants me to go serve her. She says that I'm smart and nimble, and that if I don't agree, she'll send people to deal with my sister, Hongxi. Hongmi was conflicted for a very long time. Finally, under Feng Jiao's questioning, she spoke out. Then do you want to serve at the Emerald Bamboo Pavilion? Feng Jiao asked. Hongmi naturally shook her head. Go, now that her daughter is the emperor's noble madam. I'll just give her some face. Hongmi, she will take the initiative to send you back before long. However, after you have passed away, if your heart is still with me, this lady will naturally take care of your sister Hongxi. Feng Jiao said unhurriedly. She had played 36 tricks with her. What she did not lack the least was planning. Eldest miss, this servant only wants to serve you, not go over. Hongmi clenched her teeth, who amongst the servants at home did not know the methods of the Prime Minister's mansion's direct daughter. Hongmi, go. You can take the silver from here. WHI chapter means you can take double of it. Feng Jiao pursed his lips and sneered. She was already moved. Let that stupid woman, Bai Wanting, worry about him. She was very lazy. Understood, eldest miss. A trace of happiness flashed across Hongmi's downcast eyes. It was always better to wait upon the mother of the noble madam than serve a girl who had no future. All right, you can go now. Feng Jiao waved and laughed, but her smile was not in the bottom of her eyes. Hongmi bowed and left. Ziyin frowned and asked, Young miss, what are you doing? Your servant worked so hard, but you only gave her a portion of silver. She's just a little girl who has met the heavens. Yet you actually promised her 2 pieces of silver? Ziyin, don't tell me you're not holding 2 portions of silver? I remember that if you can get one of mine, you should have one of your own as well, right? Feng Jiao's smile slowly faded as she asked. This, young miss, you are too treacherous. Ziyin stuck out her tongue. She would rather serve the old man with an uncertain personality than serve the vicious and chapter-reaming young miss, Feng Jiao. T-chapter, I can't compare to the cunning master behind you. To actually have the ability to make you replace Ziyin who served me previously? I didn't know that at the beginning. Feng Jiao sighed. First miss, this I forgive Ziyin for not being able to answer you. Ziyin lowered her head and started to help her thread the various needles. Can you arrange it? I want to see the master behind you. Feng Jiao felt that she had always been in a bright spot, while that person had always been in the dark. This is not something that I can arrange. Ziyin raised her head and gently shook her head at Feng Jiao. Ai, your master is a coward. He definitely won't dare to see me. Feng Jiao said with dissatisfaction. When she said that, the corner of Ziyun's lips twitched. I wonder if I will be angered to the point of spitting blood after hearing these words? Yao, are you saying that no one dares to meet you? As soon as the voice fell, a tall and handsome figure jumped through the window and entered the room. Chapter 82 Part 1 It's You. Feng Jiao was a little stunned. She did not expect Situ Yele to come to the begonia garden at this hour. Ziyin was also shocked. Why would head of Situ family appear in the young miss room at this time? Ziyin, go to the ear room and rest first. I have something to discuss with head of Situ family alone. Feng Jiao sighed. She had thought that he would never come to begonia garden again, but he seemed to be very happy today. Yes, young miss. This servant will take her leave. Ziyin hurriedly packed up the embroidery struts and thread before turning around and leaving with a smile. He even carefully closed the door for them. Yao, you personal girl, be careful. The moment you saw me, you knew that you had taken the initiative to cover the door for us. Situ Yele laughed and teased. However, seeing that he was dressed in a black night attire that wrapped around his tall body, his lips rippling out into a smile, and his slightly naughty smile, Feng Zhiyao could only helplessly shrug her shoulders. Yele, you came to find me at this time of the day? Aren't you afraid that my father will find out? Feng Zhiyao smiled as she poured him a cup of fruit tea. I'm not afraid, I came to visit my own wife. There's nothing to be afraid of. What's more, if your father finds out, I would be more at ease. At worst, I would just tell him, we already have a flesh and blood relationship. I will definitely marry you, Xianyuan Lingxi, that little girl. I will definitely not marry. I am more or less prepared for this. Tomorrow I will find the emperor and ask him to break the engagement. Situ Yele passionately said as he gulped down the fruit tea in his mouth. Oh yeah, the taste of your tea is really good. It's kind of like the taste of a pea chapter. Situ Yele's eyes flashed. He lowered his eyes to look at the clear liquid in the white jade cup, and said, it's fruit tea made from pea chapter buns. It's delicious, isn't it? Feng Zhiyao smiled, and then she asked, then if you directly go to the emperor to end the engagement, isn't it too dangerous? As the ancients have said, accompanying a monarch chapter is like accompanying a tiger. What if the emperor is unhappy and the emperor jails you into prison? This was also a very realistic question. She didn't want Situ Yele to lose his beautiful future because of her. Don't worry, if you really can only let me be with you because you've lost everything, then I'm willing to. I only want to marry you once in my life, and if I really have nothing, then we can go live on the outskirts of the city. That's where my private property is, in short, where I can't starve my wife and my chapter-children to death. Situ Yele walked in front of Feng Zhiyao and hugged her, lowering his eyes to look at her abdomen, as he thought that there might already be a life force that belonged to him in Yao. And so he said those words affectionately. What about your mother and your people? Feng Zhiyao worriedly asked. The emperor isn't that stupid. After all, our Situ family has existed for 500 years, and it's not something he can destroy in a single night. Situ Yele chaptered out his long and slender jade-like finger, and lightly poked her nose as he ridiculed. All right, since you are so confident, I won't stop you either. Or even if I didn't appear, it would be impossible for you and Xianyuan Lingxi to get married. Feng Zhiyao's clear eyes were looking forward, and she was not moving at all as she stared at his pair of black eyes that were as bright as the stars. Yao, why are you guessing this way? Situ Yele was shocked. She had guessed right. He should have hidden it extremely well. Because you are a man who does not want to be bound by anything. Naturally, that includes women. That was why she was smart enough to maintain a close relationship with him. She had just caused this man to worry about her. Thinking up to here, Feng Zhiyao's red lips slightly moved. She was in an extremely good mood, although Xianyuan Lingxi hated it, but in ancient times if a girl was to be annulled, then her influence would be very bad. Can you let her take the initiative to end the engagement? After all, she was from a daughter's family. If the marriage was annulled by someone, it would be difficult for her to raise her head due to all the rumors and rumors. If it was a woman who first proposed to end the engagement, it would be different. Feng Zhiyao frowned. She remembered the original owner of her body. Wasn't it because she couldn't bear the pressure and ended her life with just a belt? Yes, I just want the royal family to break off the engagement. I don't care if my face will be damaged or not. Even if I wasn't with you, I would have definitely thought of a way to break the engagement with Xianyuan Lingxi. I have already thought of a method long ago. Right. Do you still remember the son of great General Wei Yuan, Nangong Rushui? Suddenly, Situ Yele drank a mouthful of fruit tea and explained everything in detail. Shit, she's not the real Feng Zhiyao. How would she know? So she decided to play dumb. Nangong Rushui? What happened to him? Feng Zhiyao continued to add the fresh fruit tea for her, and asked with a sweet smile. Nangong Rushui is my good friend. He has liked Xianyuan Lingxi for a long time. Roughly when he was 11 years old, he fell for Xianyuan Lingxi. At that time, Xianyuan Lingxi was still young and did not understand. Afterwards, they were both bestowed with an imperial edict and the emperor tied us together. However, after I told him about my worries a few days ago, he decided to help himself and us, so it could be counted as you and me. He prepared to marry Xianyuan Lingxi off to him when he and I dissolved the engagement, and he wanted to take Xianyuan Lingxi as his wife. Situ Yele thought of his good friend, Nangong Ruoshue's infatuation, and laughed at himself. Previously, he thought Ruoshue was a fool, but in reality, he was also a fool who had fallen in love with Yaoer. What an infatuated man. Feng Zhiyao sighed, but this was good too. At least Situ Yele would not offend the imperial family because of the marriage annulment. Yaoer, am I not infatuated with you? Situ Yele raised his eyebrows. He cared a lot about how Yaoer answered him. You must be in love. You a rapist. Haha. Damn, in the middle of the night, I learned how to pick flowers like a thief, and how to find beautiful women in their rooms. Feng Zhiyao said as she continuously giggled, laughing until her stoma chapter hurt. Yaoer, don't laugh anymore. If you laugh again, I'll strip you naked and eat you. Situ Yele rubbed his nose and glared at her. He was not sleeping at night. He had toiled so mu chapter to fly away. What was the point of exploring? Wasn't it all for the sake of nurturing her feelings and the familiarity of her body? Yele, you are cute sometimes. That's right. What is the identity of that Ruoshue now? Is she compatible with Xianyuan Lingxi? Feng Zhiyao asked. He's also a general now, but his level isn't too high. I'm a bit worried that Lingxi's mother would look down on Ruoshue. Situ Yele frowned when he thought of this. Yele, you are so stupid. We can help your good friend Ruoshue wrap it up. If you were to beat him into a perfect son-in-law, would imperial concubine Duan cry and shout that he wanted to marry Xianyuan Lingxi to that good friend of yours, Ruoshue? Right, how is your friend like? Don't think that it's just a bad apple. No matter how mu chapter it's packaged, it's useless. Feng Zhiyao thought of the problem she was most concerned about, and so she asked hurriedly. She looked at Situ Yele with shining eyes, and didn't let him off the slightest bit. He looks good. Putting aside the fact that it was like a jade tree swaying in the wind, his bearing was also extraordinary. Yes, it's like this. Situ Yele placed his fist against his exquisite lower jaw as he thought to himself, and thought of the most suitable adjective. As long as you look good, it's fine. But you must let Xianyuan Lingxi have a weaker impression of you. Feng Zhiyao nodded and smiled as he instructed. Yaoer, let's not talk about them anymore. Let's talk about our matter instead. Situ Yele laughed sinisterly as his burning gaze fell on her 36D breasts. You. Why are you looking at me like that for? The corner of Feng Zhiyao's mouth twitch-chaptered. She had just been diagnosed as being excessively indulgent by Ling Hu Zi-chapter today, so she didn't dare to do any more intense piston movements. Yaoer, the day for us to be together is soon. Once that damned engagement is annulled, I will definitely bring the best and most expensive betrothal gift to escort you into the sect. What do you think? As Situ Yele spoke, he breathed in and out next to Feng Zhiyao's ears like an orchapterid, and breathed out strands after strands of hot air. This is bad. I don't want to get married that early. Hearing this, Feng Zhiyao's face darkened. Why must we marry her? If you don't marry me, who do you want to marry? Do you want to marry the killer? With a house, car, and no car, can a spirit serpent sword be used as food? Situ Yele thought of how Yi Weiyang's outfit made him puke blood. He, the dignified patriarch chapter of the second family of the Nan Shao, had actually fallen to the kind of situation where he stole a woman from an assassin, creating a new world. This was so infuriating. Spirit serpent sword cannot be used as food, but it can kill people without seeing their blood. Feng Zhiyao slapped away the slender hand he was about to embrace her with, and retorted coldly. Yaoer, he's your first man, is that true? Situ Yele frowned a little, and in the end he still couldn't help but ask. It's true. Are you satisfied with this answer? Feng Zhiyao had exceeded his expectations and actually nodded in agreement. Then me and his. That. Who's the bigger one? A bit thicker? As Situ Yele said this, his handsome face strangely flushed red. Unexpectedly, Feng Zhiyao laughed sinisterly. Hee, I'm not telling you. What can you do to me? Situ Yele raised a hand to stroke her hair, lowering his head and giving her a gentle kiss. At this moment, the moonlight was clear and a sliver of it spread across the horizon. The dark green vines on the windowsill gently tilted downwards, as soft jade-like buds were twirled. Yaoer, I finally got to know how the person is compared to Hua Jiao. Situ Yele's arm tightened, locking her into his embrace. Praise? Then I'll take it. Feng Jiao laughed sweetly, looking at his handsome face. She raised her hand and pin-chaptered his chapteriques, her attitude extremely intimate, but Situ Yele liked it. Yaoer, were you the one dancing nude the other day? Situ Yele suddenly asked. How is this possible? Of course, Feng Jiao would not admit it no matter what. Yaoer, I hope that the woman is not you. It's not because she has performed a world-shocking dance, but because I don't want anyone to rob you together with me. Situ Yele's eyes flashed and said, unfortunately, that woman was her. Feng Jiao heaved a sigh of relief. She would just hang there, but it would not be for long. They were all cunning to death. Sooner or later, they would find her and settle the score. However, no matter what, 36 strategies were the best course of action. It's not me. Feng Jiao spoke with a voice as clear as a spring, revealing her tender red lips. That numbing and moving voice stirred with boiling hot lust. Originally, when he had embraced her slim figure, he had felt too uncomfortable. Yaoer, I'm not going back. He whispered into her ear and picked her up. He quickly walked into the room and closed the door behind him with a wave of his palm. He took off his clothes of his own accord, only to see that at this moment, his black hair was like a waterfall, his skin was snow-white, his slender body had a perfect ratio, and his physique was distinct. Her sweet as rain-white lotus, light as an ore chapterid in a valley, while her chapter-arming appearance was like a deadly poppy. The temptation of 36D made it hard for him to control his emotions. Situ Yele. I don't want it, I don't want it. Don't take off my clothes. Yaoer, I haven't been in love with you for a few days. I miss you to death. Scram, don't. You're so beautiful, I really want to kiss you everywhere. Don't. Pain. Yaoer, I love you. Pieces of clothing were scattered on the ground, including chapterists, underpants, black clothing and all sorts of other things. The wind blew the butterfly or chapterids on the windowsill, and a faint fragrance mixed with the ambiguous atmosphere circulated in the room. Chapter 82 Part 2 Inside the Moon Pavilion, King of Qi's Mansion. Second Miss, Beiteng Zixuan is about to become the Duke's main wife. As Feng Jiqiong's personal little servant, Kaihong cautiously asked, I never thought that she would be the one to get the position of the King of Qi's first wife. Feng Jiqiong's eyes were sinister as she angrily smashed the cup with her hand. Second Miss, so what if you're the main wife? Isn't it so? The one King of Qi Highness loves the most is you? When Kaihong saw that she was angry, she immediately smiled apologetically and flattered her. Wrong, Kaihong. He has never loved me in his heart. I think he loves himself the most. Feng Jiqiong too chaptered her abdomen. She had seen her happiness many times before, but failed to have a son, so she went to a doctor in private, only to receive an answer that made her hate him for life. She would never be able to give birth to her own chapterild. She had thought that it might be Feng Jiao who bribed the imperial physician, but she had begged her cousin to find out. So it wasn't Feng Jiao who caused her to lose her fertility. It was her beloved person who didn't give her the chapterance to bear his son. Especially in these past few days, he hadn't come to her moon pavilion for a long time. WA chapter made her a little disappointed. She had always thought that the woman he loved most was her. It seemed that she had overestimated herself. Kaihong, did you hear anything? Feng Jiqiong only felt that there seemed to be some rustling sound next to her ear. No, I didn't hear it. Kaihong listened carefully, as if there was a little sound, but she forced herself to calm down. Feng Jiqiong turned around slightly, and saw that dead snakes were hung all over the wall, and there was even a thick deer whip hanging right in the middle of them. Second Miss, these things are so disgusting. Woo-woo. After all, Kaihong was still young. She was actually scared to the point of crying. Hurry up and send someone to call King of Qi Highness over to take a look. Let him also send someone to investigate. To see WHI chapter shameless woman actually sent someone to do Su chapter a disgusting thing. Feng Jiqiong was so frightened that she retreated step by step towards the door. She didn't dare to look at the disgusting and bloody thing on the wall. She closed her eyes and tried her best to remain calm as she commanded coldly. "Second miss. Servant. This servant will immediately." Kaihong quickly pushed open the door and quickly ran out. Rainbow asked the butler, and found out that King of Chi Highness had gone to the butterfly garden to stay the night. Kaihong Rainbow did not dare to delay her, and immediately ran to the butterfly garden. However, the girl at the door coldly looked at her and said, "It's fine if you want me to go in and report. Bring me some silver." Kaihong had no choice but to take out some crushed silver and give it to the girl. She thought better of it. Once second miss made her mark, her silver would naturally come back. Just a simple message the little girl brought back caused Kaihong to be angered to the point of spitting blood. The King of Chi Highness actually did not care, and only said that it was a small matter. When Feng Zhiqiang heard King of Chi Xianyuan Haofei's reply, she became extremely angry. Did he really think that she was easy to bully? Okay, she was currently good as his secondary wife, and that was also the emperor's personal title. Her father was good as the prime minister. Yet Xianyuan Haofei treated her like that. "Kaiyun, take a bag and put this thick deer whip in a bag. I don't believe that King of Chi Highness still has the mood to fool around with a fox spirit from a brothel after seeing this." Feng Zhiqiang's eyes were scarlet red. Her tears were speckling as she bit her lips and ordered, her tone sounding extremely serious. "Second miss, the servant." "Servant? I dare not." When Kaihong saw those disgusting things, she was scared out of her wits. "Even if you don't dare, you must at least dare to float in the vast ocean. Don't you want to stay with me anymore? Don't think that I don't know about you using your power to bully others. Go do it properly for me. Otherwise, if I am unhappy, I will betroth you to the housekeeper's silly son." "Humph." Feng Zhiqiang frowned. Damn, she couldn't even handle a little girl. What was she doing as the secondary wife of the King of Qi? How would she be able to fight with Beitang Zixuan in the future? To think that she thought Beitang Zixuan was a good sister, and had resorted to Su Chapter a crafty chapterim to steal Feng Zhiqiang's man. Only, Feng Zhiqiang had forgotten whose man she stole before. Yes, it was. "Second miss, your servant understands. Your servant will do it right away." Kaihong smiled in embarrassment. She was actually scared to death, but when she thought of the foolish son of the butler of King of Qi's residence, she couldn't help but shiver. However, she still had to do it. Kaihong shook her small hands, and placed the disgusting deer whip back into the cloth bag, before following Feng Zhiqiang. As she walked step by step, she finally arrived at the gate of the butterfly courtyard. "Go inside and report. Tell them that this side's concubine has arrived." Feng Zhiqiang covered her nose with the handkier chapterif. That thing was too smelly. "King of Chi Highness is with my Lady Butterfly. It doesn't seem like a good idea for this servant to go and report this," said the girl, annoyed by the coarseness of the gatekeeper. "What's the matter with the concubine? King of Chi Highness was not their most favorite wife yet." "What did you say?" Feng Zhiqiang was furious. Was a little brat giving her face just because she wasn't favored recently? No, she wanted to rise. "Esteemed imperial concubine Feng, my wife is currently attending her bed. If you go now, it won't be too convenient." Since this girl had received benefits from Lady Butterfly, her heart naturally belonged to Lady Butterfly. "What? Sleep? It's not convenient." Kaihong slap. Feng Zhiqiang could no longer hold it back. The flames in her body rushed to the door of her brain, and coldly ordered, "Yes, master." In front of outsiders, Kaihong called out to her master, and with that, she swiftly rushed to the girl and slapped her more than 10 times. "Someone come. Esteemed Wang Fei thinks too highly of her life. She wants to beat this servant to death." The coarse lass shouted loudly, but she only shouted half a sentence before a cloth was stuffed into her mouth by Feng Zhiqiang with a wave of her hand. "Mistress." Kaihong was shocked by Feng Zhiqiang's actions. What is there to be so surprised about? This kind of lowly girl, her death is not worthy of lament. Feng Zhiqiang pouted. When she was in her good times before, there were so many people who came to flatter her, but now that he had been away from Moon Pavilion for a few days already, did they really think that she lost? What's there to look at? Let's go. Feng Zhiqiang looked at the pit-chapter black night sky and urged Kaihong on. Kaihong looked at Feng Zhiqiang's back and only felt that her entire body was cold and that her hands and feet were cold. Entering the butterfly garden, they didn't see any of the servant girls. They probably knew that the king of Qi Highness was fond of their wife, so they tactfully left. In the silent night, Feng Zhiqiang could clearly hear the wide and delicate voices of men and women inside. However, her heart chaptered as she listened. This was the man she wholeheartedly wanted to follow. She didn't even hesitate to force her to her death. She even willingly gave her the body of a virgin. Tears blurred her eyes. She had always known that Xianyuan Haofei had many women, and she had never dreamed of having a couple in her entire life. However, when the two were so sweet, she could not help but look forward to him being together with other women, and the one she loved in her heart was still her, Feng Zhiqiang. It was just that she was wrong. She was wrong all her youth. She had waited so many years for in front of these lustful voices, and it was simply laughable. So the one at fault was herself. She was too self-righteous. No, it's not like that. He loved her. No, she wanted to prove that he loved her. With a gloomy face, she took the deer whip bag from Kaihong in her hand. Step by step, she walked forward one step at a time, until she chaptered the door where he and she were having fun together. Your Highness, I still want more. Little Demoness, you're so tight. This king feels so comfortable. Her tears couldn't help but fall as her steps became as heavy as gold. Her heart felt as though it was being pressed down by a mountain, and the pain made it hard for her to breathe. The wind blew past her, blowing her messy hair. The moonlight shone down onto her pale face, contrasting with her beautiful face that looked like a mandala in the wind, making her seem even more devilish. Anger. With all her might, she ruthlessly kicked open the red lacquered wooden door. The moonlight poured in, shining on the messy bed inside. A man and a woman snaked around like two snakes. Qiang. Xianyuan Haofei was surprised. What was Feng Zhiqiang doing here when he was having fun with the beautiful woman? Didn't he tell her to take care of the matter herself? Feng Zhiqiang laughed coldly, and threw the deer whip that was in the sack onto her bed along with him. Immediately, Xianyuan Haofei withered, because his lust was gone. Yes. How would you feel if you were thrown a bloody deer whip and a strip of cloth in the midst of your high passion? A hint of bloodlust flashed across Xianyuan Haofei's dark and handsome face. He chaptered out to push away the beautiful woman on his body, and immediately put on his pants as he coldly reprimanded her. Qiang, do you know what you're doing? Seeing that she was Su Mayan's direct cousin, he admitted that he was unlucky, but she could avoid death, and hard to escape from punishment. Big brother, how you violated your oath to me. Feng Zhiqiang's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at him pitifully. When Madame Butterfly, who was at the side, saw that Feng Xinyang had come to her courtyard to cause trouble, she was naturally furious in her heart. Thus, she immediately threw herself into Xianyuan Haofei's embrace, crying and crying. Your Highness, Imperial Concubine Feng is doing this on purpose. You said it already. Tonight, all of your time is mine. Wu. Mrs. Butterfly came from a brothel. She knew that allure and Chapterulian could coexist together, so she cried perfectly right now. Her weeping sounds were like a stream splashing against a rock, making it even more beautiful. Mrs. Butterfly's crying made Xianyuan Haofei's heart soften. He had spent a huge sum of money to buy Mrs. Butterfly back from the brothel with great difficulty, but he had not had the time to properly savor her tears. Qiang, apologize. Xianyuan Haofei hugged Mrs. Butterfly tightly. The gentleness in his eyes was really annoying. No, how can I, a secondary wife, apologize to my concubine? Feng Zhiqiang had never thought that Xianyuan Haofei could be so indiscriminate with his words. Did he really forget about the power that she represented? Or had he wiped out all their friendship? My prince, there's no need for big sister secondary concubine to apologize to this servant. This servant's identity is low, it's not worth it. Woo, your highness, as long as you love me it's fine. Mrs. Dai saw Feng Zhiqiang's expression that made her so angry that she wanted to strip her hair off. She was very pleased in her heart. That kind of woman could only be a side concubine, one that could not even cat chapter a man's heart. She was so stupid. Lady Butterfly's move of retreating to advancing actually made Xianyuan Haofei have a whole new level of respect for her. He felt that not only was this woman extremely intelligent, she was also very understanding, and he wondered how many times better she was than Feng Zhiqiang. Therefore, he said in a pitying manner, "Let's go. I'll bring you to the pool. We'll continue with the wonderful thing that happened just now." When Mrs. Butterfly heard this, she was overjoyed. The washing pool was a good place, and the water inside was warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Therefore, she blushed and said tenderly, "I will prepare a chapter range of clothes. You'll look the best if you don't wear it, haha." How could Xianyuan Haofei allow her to prepare any kind of clothes? He only carried her and quickly swept past Feng Zhiqiang's side. Without even looking at Feng Zhiqiang once, he carried the other woman, and left right under her nose. Kai Hong looked at Feng Zhiqiang, who was stunned on the spot, secretly afraid. Who knows how Feng Zhiqiang will cause a ruckus later. Kai Hong, prepare the carriage. I want to make a trip to Prime Minister's mansion now. Feng Zhiqiang gritted her teeth until they creaked. Is it now? It's already very late? Yes, now is the time. Feng Zhiqiang closed her eyes. She was her father's daughter after all, and she hoped to be able to receive help. Chapter 82 Part 3 It took a long time before Situ Yele was willing to let Feng Zhiyao go. Yele, aren't you tired? He was always as fierce as a tiger. When I'm with you, there's only happiness and no fatigue. Situ Yele hugged her soft and delicate body and laughed. You're so annoying. Feng Zhiyao pouted coquettishly and laughed, but seeing that her clear and crystal clear eyes were filled with the chapter arm of ice and jade, her beautiful eyebrows were raised in the morning sunlight, her watery eyes were pressed against her rosy lips, and even using all the brush and ink in the world, it was impossible to describe her current graceful and chapter-arming appearance. Yaoer, I like you to be like this, coquettish and cute. Situ Yele hugged her and kissed her face. All right, it's getting late. Hurry up and leave. Feng Zhiyao urged her. She could not let her father cat-chapter her with Situ Yele, as Father Feng had high hopes for Wen Xingyuan. I really don't like the look of having a guilty conscience. Sigh, I'll marry you home sooner. Situ Yele frowned. His face was filled with regret. Come on, hurry up and settle your marriage contract. Stop blabbering in front of me. Feng Zhiyao laughed and patted his chapterist and raised her eyebrows. All right, I'll be going back first. Sleep for a while more. Situ Yele gazed at her body lovingly. He was so tired that he didn't want to leave. He felt like all of his energy had been squeezed dry by her. After Situ Yele left, Feng Zhiyao sat cross-legged. Suddenly, she felt an endless flow of true energy flow out of her body, as light as a feather. Suddenly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Am I really overindulging myself? Feng Zhiyao was worried. She wouldn't be able to sleep next, so she put on her clothes and memorized all the martial arts manuals at the bottom of her heart. Then she threw up twice more, and when it was close to dawn, she was completely at ease, but she could not resist the torrent of sleep, and immediately fell asleep. September 24th. Ling Huzi Chaptir waited for her outside the pavilion that was covered in green willow trees with his umbrella. Eldest senior brother, let's go. We've already waited for nearly 2 hours. That Lady Feng will definitely not come. Although Zongjing Xiaoqing said it on the surface, in his heart, he was still a little looking forward to it. Eldest senior brother, it's raining so heavily, she definitely won't come out to send you off. Shen Qinghan pulled open the carriage curtain and shouted to Ling Huzi Chaptir, who was inside the rain. She didn't want to see that woman. She wanted to advise eldest senior brother to return as soon as possible. If he stayed here, he would be led astray by that woman sooner or later. Just as Ling Huzi Chaptir was disappointed, Feng Zhiyao came over in the carriage. Zongjing Xiaoqing naturally saw it too. At this moment, he also felt a bit of joy in his heart. However, when he saw his junior sister laughing and chapteratting with him, he reminded himself once again that the person he liked was his junior sister. This time, the rain became smaller. That small silk-like rain fell from the sky. The raindrops were so small. The curtain of rain was so dense. It was as if the mountains were covered with a white gauze like a cicada's wings. Rain like fog like rain, wisps of continuous entanglement. Feng Zhiyao frowned. She looked at the rain and thought, This kind of rotten weather, sure enough, it's going to rain. The beautiful man was going to leave. Yao, or did you come to send me off? Ling Hu Zichaptir couldn't believe his eyes at all. He thought he had seen wrongly. I promised you yesterday I won't break my promise. Feng Jiao wanted to get down from the carriage. However, she was immediately hugged by Ling Hu Zichaptir into his embrace, causing Feng Jiao to be stunned. She, who was wearing red clothes and carrying white clothes, flew towards the corner of their clothes with the wind from the rain, drawing a beautiful curve amidst the fluttering of the rain. Yao, you came to send me off. Why didn't you tell me before coming here alone? What if you meet a bad person along the way? When Xing Yuan's voice came clearly from afar, Feng Jiao raised her head to look, only to see a luxurious carriage running on the official road. From the luxurious look, it had to be the number 1 family, Xing Yuan. Feng Jiao didn't expect that when Xing Yuan would actually come to send her off. Suddenly, she laughed to herself secretly, thinking that she had forgotten that Ling Hu Zichaptir stayed in the Feng Yun Hotel earlier, and that the Feng Yun Hotel was the biggest tavern in the Wen family. It was normal for when Xing Yuan to know that he was leaving. When Xing Yuan said in a calm voice, Zichaptir, Xiaoqing Qinghan, have a safe journey. Hearing that his good friend had arrived, Ling Hu Zichaptir immediately put Feng Jiao down. The P-chapter blossom eyes revealed a smile. Thank you for seeing us out. Feng Jiao chapteruckled and said in a clear voice, we're friends, it's something that we should do. Suddenly she laughed. Where is your junior sister? Why don't you dare come out and meet me? Who said I don't dare to come out and meet you? Shen Qinghan was provoked by Feng Jiao as her small face darkened. As expected, she could not take it anymore. She immediately lifted the curtain of the horse carriage and jumped down from the carriage. When are you coming to the Xianyang to play again? Feng Jiao had held up the oil paper umbrella above her head a step ahead of her, preventing her from getting wet. What are you doing here? Even the eldest senior brother is going to be taken away by you. I'm not coming anymore. Shen Qinghan laughed coldly, then laughed as if she had chapter-arranged her attitude. Big brother Xing Yuan, was the lady you hugged so good last time? Did you like her a lot? After Feng Jiao heard this, she immediately confirmed that Shen Qinghan did this on purpose. Her only purpose was to anger her. But how did Shen Qinghan know that she was her? That's all. It was a waste of time. Yes, I do like her. I can't wait to marry her right now. When Xing Yuan looked at Feng Jiao with deep and loving eyes, and said without concealing it at all. However, how could Shen Qinghan know that the two of them were originally the same person? Therefore, Shen Qinghan covered her mouth and laughed. That lady sure is lucky. She doesn't look like someone who abandoned his wife's life. Damn, she said that Feng Jiao was an abandoned wife's life. Indeed, it looks like this Shen Qinghan really deserves a beating. Xing Yuan listened to her. After Feng Jiao heard this, she was silent for a moment, then pulled Wen Xing Yuan's hand and said, I didn't say anything bad about you. Shen Qinghan said smugly, but only because she lost 2 Mu chapter last night, so she had to take it back no matter what. Junior sister, don't argue with Yao again. It's time for us to go. Ling Hu Zichaptir looked at Wen Xing Yuan holding the umbrella, and Feng Jiao's shoulder was being embraced by him. It was a beautiful picture no matter what, but in the eyes of the other 2 beautiful women, it was glaring, and they were at a loss. Eldest senior brother, junior sister, the rain is getting heavier and heavier, let's go. Zongjing Xiaoqing glanced at Ling Hu Zichaptir and Shen Qinghan who were standing in the rain and asked, Big brother Zichaptir, I made this cake for you so early in the morning, I hope you like it. It was to do these for you that I arrived 2 hours late. Feng Jiao instructed Ziyin to take a red lacquered food box from her carriage and handed it over to her with a smile. Thank you, Yaoer. Ling Hu Zichaptir didn't think that he would receive Su Chapter a gift before he left. I've made 3 people's portion, you can have it together. Feng Jiao laughed. This smile made Shen Qinghan's teeth at chapter in hatred, thinking, she definitely cannot use any better methods. There was no need for food to seduce her eldest senior brother. I don't want to eat it. Shen Qinghan coldly snorted. Little sister Qinghan, why are you still angry at me? Feng Jiao chapter-ranged into a warm attitude, and even took the initiative to walk over. Leaving the rain, He held Shen Qinghan's small hand and quickly pierced it with his finger. However, Shen Qinghan retracted her hand as if she had been electrocuted, and said angrily, "Don't be so intimate with me, I'm not too familiar with you." Strange, why does her hand feel a sharp pain just now? That's right, I'm unfamiliar so I'm not familiar. However, I still wish you a pleasant journey and fall into the river halfway. Feng Zhiyao moved closer to her ear and whispered more and more softly. Perhaps the rain was too loud. The others didn't hear what the two girls were saying to Ye chapter other. In the end, the rain was too heavy. Ling Hu Zi chapter and the rest sat on the horse carriage and left. Yaoer, stop looking, everyone has left. Wen Xingyuan's voice contained a trace of obvious anger. All right, farewell, it's time for me to leave as well. Feng Zhiyao laughed as she walked into the rain, and bid farewell to him. The rain had dren-chaptered her clothes, outlining her beautiful curves, and he could not help but feel his eyes burning with passion when he saw her. His woman's body was simply too beautiful, and he had the impulse to do it to her again. Yaoer, come back in my carriage. When Xingyuan propped the oil paper umbrella on her head once again. No need, Xingyuan, I really have to take my leave. Feng Zhiyao hadn't forgotten the kiss on her face from the 300 rounds she had fought with Situ Yele last night. Those were indisputable evidence, so she could only dodge as far as she could. So fast. Then I will ride with you in your carriage. Then when Xingyuan ordered Zhang Yi to take the carriage and leave. Thus, Feng Zhiyao helplessly faced Wen Xingyuan, who had already been instructed to sit beside Wan Sanzi, the COA chapterman. Yaoer, why aren't you saying anything? Was your wet clothes making you uncomfortable? These blue and purple kisses of yours don't seem like they were left by me a few days ago. When Xingyuan then saw the faint light, and finally saw the kiss mark on her collarbone. He was puzzled, but a sinister look quickly flashed past his warm and handsome face. Chapter 83 Part 1 When Xingyuan said, "Those blue and purple kiss marks don't seem like they were left by me a few days ago." After hearing what she said, Feng Zhiyao's clear eyes drooped, her heart was in turmoil. Her clothes were already wet, but now they were more like a jade white lotus standing in the water, beautiful and elegant. She unhurriedly wrung her clothes, then raised her eyebrows and smiled. "What do you want to ask?" Is there another man besides me?" Wen Xingyuan never thought that she would still be able to smile at Su chapter a time. Feng Zhiyao yawned lazily, her eyes closed, allowing Wen Xingyuan to vent his anger. "Whatever, don't wear wet clothes. Wear my robe first." Although Wen Xingyuan felt pain in his heart, he couldn't bear to speak of her as her body was completely dren-chaptered. After all, she was the only woman that tempted his heart in his entire life. Perhaps she was the only one who could make him endure it again and again. "Thank you." Feng Zhiyao did not hesitate and immediately opened her eyes, took it, and draped it over her shoulders. "Yaoer, why are you so courteous with me?" When Xingyuan leaned in front of Feng Zhiyao with his handsome face, bent his head and said lightly, "Yaoer, do you hate me?" When Xingyuan thought of this, he became extremely worried. "No, you think too much chapter." Feng Zhiyao lifted the curtain of the carriage, and it seemed that the rain had stopped. "That's good. That's right, Yaoer. I will send you straight back to the Prime Minister's mansion. I just so happen to want to talk to your father about some things related to us." When Xingyuan Arie chaptered out his large hand, and wrapped around her small hand as he softly asked, "No. I won't be going back to Prime Minister's mansion for now. I want to make a trip to Tsuha House." Feng Zhiyao shook her head thinking, what else can he discuss with Father Feng? It was most likely something like sending her to one family in a bag. "Oh right, Yaoer, what is your relationship with the Tsuha House? How did you become the young miss of Tsuha House?" When Xingyuan asked curiously. What a coincidence. Feng Zhiyao only said these 4 words. She did not want to talk about the relationship between her and the Tsuha House. "Yaoer, your words are getting more and more mysterious. I really don't understand you." After he finished speaking, when Xingyuan sighed, his gaze was fixated on her butterfly collarbone. "It's better to remain mysterious. Don't you like me like this?" Feng Zhiyao suddenly smiled chapter-armingly, making Wen Xingyuan feel like she was a beauty who had the power to topple nations. I like it, as long as it's Yaoer, I like it too." The tenderness in Wen Xingyuan's eyes was not fake. All right, you said it. I want to sleep now. As soon as Feng Jiao finished speaking, he leaned against Wen Xingyuan's chapterist and fell into a deep sleep. The rolling white pigeons caused Wen Xingyuan's handsome face to redden, and he once again thought of that night at the side of the Spring Festival Gala, where the two of them struggled to survive. Feng Jiao was really too tired to think that she would actually sleep until night. When she woke up again, she was already lying on Begonia Garden's bed. Eldest Miss, you've awoken. It was Ziyun's voice. After Feng Jiao heard this, she frowned and asked, how did I return to Begonia Garden? She remembered that she wanted to go to Tsuha House this afternoon. The one family lord said that you fell asleep and directly asked the carriage driver to pull you back to Prime Minister's mansion. Furthermore, he even saw the old master. After Ziyun finished speaking, she secretly laughed. Do you know what he said to my father? Feng Jiao was shocked. Could this be what she was thinking? How can this servant know the specifics? However, according to the servants, when the one family lord walked out of the main entrance, he seemed to be in an extremely good mood. Ziyun tried her best to recall. Sigh, it's ruined. Feng Jiao almost raised her head and sighed. Did Wen Xingyuan already tell Father Feng about the matter between her and him? Eldest Miss, what is destroyed? Ziyun didn't understand why she had to shout her head down. No. I'm hungry. Feng Jiao felt that she had missed her Luan chapter. Eldest Miss, I'll tell you something that will relieve my anger. Ziyun whispered. What is it? Just say it. What are you trying to pull it off so secretively for? Feng Jiao laughed and asked. Miss, I heard that second Miss returned to Prime Minister's mansion last night, but was chapter-raced out of the house by Master. Master only said a few words, you better take care of yourself. Ziyun treated this matter as a joke, and told it to Feng Jiao. I think he must have suffered at the King of Qi's residence. Feng Jiao guessed. A life of S-chapter-reaming and S-chapter-reaming is definitely not an easy one. Ziyun laughed. That's right. Ziyun is smart. If I ever meet your master, I will have to ask him to pay for your tuition. Feng Jiao laughed and ridiculed. After Ziyun heard this, she was petrified. As for Feng Jilin, after being beaten up by the imperial concubine Duan, and returning back to the Juhua Palace, she was extremely furious in her heart. After waiting for the nanny Rong to get busy with other things, Zhuer carefully walked to Feng Jilin's side and whispered, Little Lord, when the emperor has spoiled you, what are you afraid of the imperial concubine Duan? Zhuer, I've been in the palace for several days already, and I haven't even seen the emperor's shadow. Feng Jilin was annoyed when she thought of this. Young master, this servant heard that after the emperor goes to court, he will walk through the imperial garden to take care of matters there. Then we can go to the imperial garden and wait for the emperor. Zhuer thought. That's a good idea. I'll try it. When Feng Jilin thought about how she was punished by the imperial concubine Duan to kneel down for 4 hours because of a shitty rule, it made her legs go numb. On the next day, when the sun shone brightly, Feng Jilin dressed up meticulously and brought Zhuer to the imperial garden to wait for Xianyuan Kong. But Xianyuan Kong did not wait. This was the first time Feng Jilin saw the crown prince, Xianyuan Haochapteran. She was even prettier than King of Qi Xianyuan Haofei by a few points. At this moment, she could feel her own heart beating rapidly. The crown prince, Xianyuan Haochapteran, was annoyed by the officials in the imperial court who were talking about him consuming the 5-stone powder, so he came to take a breather in the imperial garden. Unexpectedly at this moment he saw a beauty. But why did this beauty look so familiar? Where have I seen it before? Ah, he remembered. That time at the Blue Festival's banquet, this brave woman took the initiative to confess to Royal Father, and only then was she conferred the title of Noble Madam Lin by Royal Father. However, the woman was dressed extravagantly, and her sleeves were made wider than usual, rustling in the wind. Her waist was tight, and beneath her was a long skirt embroidered with white magnolia. A jade hairpin hung with a strand of silver tassels, a beautiful heart-shaped face, a small straight nose, curved willow leaf-like eyebrows, thin lips, and thick, silky black hair. It gently fell down to the ground and a cozy expression appeared on her face, along with a smile that wasn't a smile. as she strolled into the imperial garden with her servant. Beautiful girl, you're so beautiful. Due to the incident with the 5-stone powder, Xianyuan Haochapteran had caused him to be in a bad mood. It had been a few days since he last 2-chaptered a girl. And now that he saw the meticulously dressed Feng Jilin, a hint of shock flashed past his eyes. Who are you? Feng Jilin had originally been waiting for Xianyuan Kong, but who would have thought that a black-hearted wolf would actually come? Do you really not know who I am? Xianyuan Haochapteran laughed sinisterly. He extended his pure white fingers and pin-chaptered Feng Jilin's lower jaw, then used his free hand to quickly tap on Zhuer's acupoint. Crown Prince, you are the Crown Prince. Why are you 2-chaptering Zhuer's acupoints? Feng Jilin was extremely shocked. Although she did not understand politics, she had heard the rumors of the Crown Prince being shameless. That was why, at this moment, all of the goosebumps on her body dropped to the ground. Since this hall has taken a liking to you, I naturally have to favor you. Xianyuan Haochapteran instructed the hidden guards behind him to look at Zhuer as he carried Feng Jilin to a secluded place in the imperial garden. The fake mountain there was very big, and they went into a fake mountain cave. Oh my god! The Crown Prince wanted to favor her? No. She hurriedly shook her head. I beg you, Your Highness. I am your royal father's woman. You cannot 2-chapter me. Xianyuan Haochapteran placed her on the stone bed and gave a chapter-arming smile. Royal father is old. Could it be that with your beauty and youth, you truly want to ruin your body to that old man's? There was a hint of regret in his voice, as well as a sigh. Besides, I am the Crown Prince. When my royal father dies, wouldn't the Nanshao's world be mine? You should be familiar with the Nanshao's system of burial. A concubine without a chapterilde will be buried with her. Do you want to die so soon in a grave? Xianyuan Haochapteran slowly said, his eyes full of desire falling on Feng Jilin's curvy face. No, she did not want to die. She wanted to stand at the peak of power. She wanted to live. She wanted to properly protect her mother. Mother was still waiting for her to bring glory to her ancestors. Beauty, don't worry about it. If you submit to me, I will bestow you one of the 4 palaces after I become the great treasure. It's still better than if you're a noble madam. Xianyuan Haochapteran naturally did not want to force her to be happy with him. To be happy together was something that he would only feel comfortable with if he was willing to do it with her. Only then would he be satisfied with his important parts. Feng Jilin felt that her heart was thumping hard. Beauty, could it be that my appearance does not enter your eyes? Xianyuan Haochapteran's gentle and chapter-arming voice sounded beside Feng Jilin's ears. No. His Highness the Crown Prince is extremely beautiful, and is one of the most beautiful men in the world. Feng Jilin blushed deeply as she spoke. In terms of appearance, she valued him greatly as well, but when she thought about how she was now his father's noble Madam Lin, how could she do that with him? Beauty, I also like you very much. Chapter. Look at your chapterist, your butt, everything looks flawless. It makes my heart it chapter. As he spoke, he chaptered out to 2-chapter that place. This caused Feng Jilin to tremble. No, Your Highness, I can't. Her sweet and gentle voice was like the clear cry of an oriole. Beauty, you should think it over. Do you want to follow me or my royal father? Xianyuan Haochapteran suddenly walked over, both of his arms tightly locking her delicate body. He leaned beside her exquisite earlobes and took a deep breath. Chapter 83 Part 2 This was the first time in Feng Jilin's life that she had come into chapter close contact with man. Previously, she had studied the secrets of women, but it was all because of the relationship between men and women. However, she had never experienced the beauty of a couple. Crown Prince, please behave yourself. Feng Jilin was still a little afraid. If the old emperor knew about that she chapteriated on him, she would die without a burial ground. Beauty, stop thinking about it. Let me take a look at your place. With that, Xianyuan Haochapteran's long and slender palm chaptered into her clothes. Your Highness, no. Feng Jilin was still just a girl. Facing his domineering kiss, chapter was like a torrential storm. She looked at him in horror, and shouted with all her might that no. She even wanted to shout for help. This hall likes you, but it's not like I'm strong, harmonious, or violent. Why are you shouting for help? Xianyuan Hao Chapterin looked at her coldly, and after that, he felt that she was too noisy, so he pointed at her mute acupoints. His hand seemed to be drawing outline after outline on her soft white bare, as if he was holding onto a brush, as if he was immersed in painting. Your figure isn't too bad. Do you want to take off your clothes yourself, or do you want me to take them off for you? Xianyuan Hao Chapterin bent his body to look at her, who was lying on the stone bed, and smirked. Feng Jilin weighed the pros and cons of the situation in her heart. If she was on good terms with the crown prince, she could still get some help. When the time came for the emperor to summon her to sleep, she could then think of a way. Suddenly, Feng Jilin calmed her expression. Her lips revealed a chapter-arming smile, and then she raised her hand to point at her own mouth. Her actions were to tell him that she had thought it through, and that she had something to say to him. What are you trying to say? Then understood her meaning. His handsome face flashed with an extremely flirtatious smile. Your concubine wants your highness to agree to this servant's request. After your highness ascends the throne, bestow Guanju Palace to your concubine. That's right. Feng Jilin meant that she wanted the location of one of the 4 palaces, and a palace the size of the Guanju Palace was her first chapteroise. Feng Jilin looked at the handsome and chapter-arming man beside her with hope. Has the crown prince agreed to this concubine? Of course I agree. That's what I thought before. Xianyuan Hao Chapterin pulled her pair of thin and white hair, and gently caressed them, as though he was speaking with tenderness, and a look of disdain quickly flashed past his eyes. Then I am willing to offer my virginity to His Highness the Crown Prince. She gritted her teeth and made this decision. Besides her good body, she had nothing else. Since that was the case, then she should use it well. If she used it properly, then she could also succeed and leap up. After having thought of this, she smiled coquettishly. Very good. There was no point in forcing him out. Xianyuan Hao Chapterin's slender phoenix eyes narrowed slightly, and with 70% laziness and 30% evilness, he caressed his slender white fingers. He thought to himself, women all admire vanity, but to be able to take the initiative, of course he would enjoy. As a result, Feng Jilin slowly took off her long skirt, chapterist and underpants. Her perfect figure was instantly exposed in the air, and mottled sunlight shone through the gaps of the fake mountain cave. She was very happy, because she saw the desire in Xianyuan Hao Chapterin's eyes, and it burned up little by little. She was very confident that her body, as well as her virginity, would be able to make him take great care of her. Afterwards, she slowly walked to his side, and removed the light yellow crown prince's brocade clothes, revealing his male body. It was very beautiful, very grand, very spectacular. Her skin that was as white as snow did not have the slightest bit of fat. Her muscles were smooth, sexy and enticing. The girl in his embrace had a mesmerizing beauty to her. Her heart-shaped face, willowy eyebrows, and the eyes of the underground lake of autumn were alluring due to lust. Her chapterary lips were parted and her breathing quickened as she exhaled like ore chapterids. Her soft and boneless body was wrapped around the man like a vine, and she smiled like an expert on demonic artifacts. Suddenly, Xianyuan Hao Chapterin deliberately stopped. Your Highness, don't. Again. Linner. The soft and chapter-arming voice was like a bug drilling into one's heart, making one's heart it chapter unbearably. Xianyuan Hao Chapterin chapteruckled upon hearing it. Her chapter-arming eyes were filled with a flow of wind and evil qi that caused people's breathing to be consistent. When Feng Jilin saw that he had greeted her, her face flushed red and her eyes filled with embarrassment. Seeing that it was one thing and another thing was really another. Linner, my beauty, quickly please me, Xianyuan Hao Chapterin said gently as he looked at her beautiful face. The confidence he did not have from Gu Xner could be obtained here, so he was naturally overjoyed, and even his voice had softened a bit. The flirtatious cries and pleas swept through the entire cave, shaking the mountains and overturning the seas. It caused people to feel extreme pity for the fairer sex. Everything that happened next went without saying. The son and his father's wife had chapterived amorous deeds. If the old emperor found out about this, would he vomit blood and die? The shadow guard outside the cave was so angry that blood was coming out of his nose. The crown prince was fierce and fierce. How could he be so energetic when he met a girl other than the crown princess? Roughly 2 hours later, the rain and clouds stopped. Your Highness, Liner is already one of your people. You must chapterish me a little. Feng Jilin hugged his neck with her tender white arms, her chapter-arming eyes like silk as she said with a pleasant voice. Beauty, how can I be someone who goes back on my word? Xianyuan Hao Chapterin lifted his hand and caressed her exquisite face. This is a bottle of ointment to cover your tracks. Before you go back, put it on, otherwise if royal father finds out, your little life will be gone. All right, I'll be leaving now. Later I'll have your personal maid come into the cave to wait upon you. Xianyuan Hao Chapterin wrapped his arms around her slender waist and took out a bottle of ointment from an unknown hidden compartment. Your Highness, could you accompany Liner for a while longer? Feng Jilin said in a spoiled manner. Just now, when she had just tasted the rain, she had felt that it was extremely beautiful. Therefore she pitifully pulled on his big hand hoping. I like obedient women. Xianyuan Hao Chapterin bent over and kissed her neck, then got up and quickly dressed himself. Afterwards, his figure quickly disappeared into the cave. After a while, Feng Jilin's personal maid, Zhuer, entered the cave. Little lord, did that person do anything to you? Zhuer worriedly looked at her third young miss, who was also the current noble Madame Lin. That person just now was someone who was below the Nanshao kingdom, someone who could be considered a king. Feng Jilin's eyes were filled with worship and infatuation. Just now, the bed skills of the crown prince made her feel extremely comfortable being his woman. Zhuer jumped in shock. Then, she raised her head and saw that Feng Jilin's half-naked Bairuyu's body was covered with speckles from kissing. She was shocked. Could it be that the third miss and the crown prince were having fun inside the fake mountain cave? Oh my god! The third miss was the emperor's noble Madame Lin, and the crown prince was his son. They had Su Chapter a complicated relationship. Isn't this nonsense? The forbidding love of legends? Zhuer was so shocked that she did not move. Her heart started to beat faster. Oh my god, this is a crime of exterminating the whole family. The third young miss is making a big deal out of this. Zhuer, I have already decided. I will step on 2 boats with the support of the emperor and the crown prince. I cannot give up on both of these. Feng Jilin then unscrewed the stopper of the bottle and smeared the cream white ointment on the kiss mark on her body. She couldn't chapter it, and even asked Zhuer to smear it on. Third miss, it's been a long time. Aren't you afraid that something might happen? Zhuer could not help but sweat for her. All right, tidy up my hair and quickly head back to Jihua Palace. If the old lady from Nanirong asks about it later, you can say that you saw the chapterary blossoms in the imperial garden and forgot the time and leave it to me. It was really hard to deal with that Nanny Rong. After all, Nanny Rong was the person sent by the imperial concubine Duan to serve her. Understood. This servant will be careful. Zhuer immediately observed her words, thinking that the third miss had been like a sister to her since chapterilthood. If not for the third miss, she would have exposed her identity a long time ago. Therefore, Zhuer's loyalty to Feng Jilin was incomparable. That's good. Hurry up and help me wipe it evenly. Don't let anyone see any traces of it. If you're lucky enough to sleep tonight, then what? Feng Jilin's heart skipped a beat. At this moment, she wasn't looking forward to attending to the servants like before. After all, she had already done the matters of Wuxian and Yu Feng with the young man. If it was the old emperor instead, it would be hard for her to accept it. What's more, she wasn't a virgin at the moment. If the emperor discovered that she wasn't, wouldn't her head fall to the ground like before? What should he do? Third miss, there is no need to worry. There is a fake virgin blood drop. What are you afraid of? Zhuer told Feng Jilin about the news she had gathered from their conversation. That's the only way. And it's still my Zhuer's careful thought. Feng Jilin smiled in satisfaction. As for Feng Jiao, she rested at home for a few days. It was supposed to be a beauty sleep, but it was actually to rest. She was really afraid of the consequences of her excessive indulgence. September 30th, sunny, cloudless, a fine day for a trip. Eldest miss, you've slept at home for several days. Your servant knows that the weather is very good today. Do you want to go out for a walk? After Ziyin helped her wash, she asked with a smile. It's time to go out for a stroll. By the way, do you remember what day it is? Feng Jiao asked with a smile. Her smile was resplendent and alluring. Eldest miss, did you ask His Highness King of Jing to discuss about the opening ceremony? Ziyin shouted as if she thought of something. Ziyin, quickly get Wan Sanzi to prepare the car. I am going to the first soup restaurant in Xianyang. Feng Jiao said impatiently after quickly finishing a bowl of porridge and a pear blossom knife. Chapter 83 Part 3 It took them an hour to arrive at the door of Xianyang's #1 soup store. Xianyuan Haoyu was already waiting for her in the private room on the second floor. Yao, you're here? Xianyuan Haoyu thought that Feng Jiao had forgotten about this matter. Of course, I'm not confused about the matter of earning silver. The meaning of Feng Jiao's words was, don't trick me, I have a very high sensitivity toward silver. Oh right, everything has been prepared. What do you think about opening tomorrow? Xianyuan Haoyu looked at Feng Jiao with blazing eyes, and asked. It's quite good. Have you let anyone take a look? Is tomorrow a good day? Feng Jiao thought of an extremely important question, and asked. What news of this matter? Even an elegant and noble man like Xianyuan Haoyu would not be able to avoid the wind. It's not like they were getting married. It must be an auspicious day. I'm not sure yet. In front of her he still called himself me no. He shook his head slightly, his eyes filled with tenderness, like a man who had fallen in love. Just you wait, I'll go downstairs and ask the shopkeeper myself. Is it a lucky day tomorrow? Feng Jiao immediately stood up, stopped drinking her tea, and walked out the door with small steps going downstairs. When Ziyin saw that Feng Jiao had left, she felt really awkward. Should she continue staying here, or quickly follow the big miss downstairs? Your young miss will soon come upstairs. This is the latest chapter of the martial arts world. Xianyuan Haoyu raised his head, and after sweeping his eyes across Ziyun's face for a second, he said this indifferently. Oh. Ziyin thought. This lord had once said that King of Jing and King of Qin were both outstanding, and could be considered as dragons amongst men. At this moment, she quickly glanced at Xianyuan Haoyu from the corner of her eyes, and then quickly retracted her gaze. You should be clear about the close relationship between me and your young miss, so this king does not care about what your master wants you to do to Yaoer. This king will firmly Shaptarus to love and protect her. Xianyuan Haoyu gave her a slight glance, causing Ziyin to feel an unprecedented fear. Dressed in snow-white clothes, with eyes like a formidable force field that could topple mountains and overturn the seas, he was also like the sun god, the master of all things in the world. Whi chapter was noble, elegant, and dazzling to the point where no one dared to look him in the eye. This servant is just an ordinary slave. King of Jing is too worried. Ziyin tried her best to suppress the trace of fear in her heart, and said with a smile as she raised her eyes. Well, tomorrow is a lucky day. Then let's set a date for the opening tomorrow. Feng Jiao chapteruckled as she lifted her skirt and walked over. Very good. Xianyuan Haoyu nodded. Yaoer, I have something to say with you alone. Can you let your personal girl take a step back first? Xianyuan Haoyu glanced at Ziyin and said. Ziyun, then go to the carriage and wait for me there. When you go downstairs, remember to tell the shopkeeper to bring the 2 chapterikins back. Feng Jiao laughed, and then instructed Ziyun. Yes, Mississippi. Ziyun smiled and agreed. Actually, Ziyun had thought about it. If she was really an ordinary servant girl, then her days would be good. She would be working for the young miss, and would not have to follow the rules of the mansion. However, Master told her not to carry out her mission, and just to stay by eldest Miss's side. She didn't know what she wanted her to do in the future. Ziyin walked out of the room with a smile on her face, then gracefully walked down the stairs, although she was still deep in thought. Seeing that Ziyin had gone out, Feng Jiao asked while smiling, What exactly do you want to say to me alone? To make my personal girl withdraw? Yaoer, did you really not go to Blue Festival's feast? Xianyuan Haoyu looked straight at her chapter-arming face. He looked very carefully, and was not willing to let go of even the slightest of expression. I really didn't pull it. Didn't you know that I made a rumor about me getting sick? How could I go to Su chapter a place? Aren't you afraid that your father and the others would say that I gave them my illness? Seeing him ask that, Feng Jiao immediately thought of something and spoke without thinking. Your little mouth is really unreasonable. However, I've not seen you for a few days, so I missed you a lot. Xianyuan Haoyu said emotionally. The gentleness in his black eyes could draw the outline of a rain in the south. Come on, you're going to miss me? Feng Jiao smiled faintly. She did not believe that a man of the royal family would be infatuated. Yaoer, it's true. Look, this is a small portrait that I carved for you. Xianyuan Haoyu took out a 3-chapter-long white jade sculpture from his sleeve. The one engraved on it was Feng Jiao, and it could be said to be a work of heaven's work. He's so lifelike, he really looks like me. It's really you. You carved it yourself? Feng Jiao did not believe it. One by one noble princes, would they seriously carve with their swords? Of course it's the statue of my wife that I carved myself. Do you like it? Xianyuan Haoyu asked as he gently placed the jade white sculpture of the beauty in her hand. Of course I like it. Thank you. It was a very special gift. And it had to be said that Xianyuan Haoyu had spent quite a bit of thought for her. Hearing that Feng Jiao said that she liked it, Xianyuan Haoyu's mood became extremely good, and her beautiful lips unconsciously curved upwards. Yaoer, it's almost noon. Why don't we have Luan chapter together to create a new world? Xianyuan Haoyu turned his head and looked at the blazing sun outside the window as he spoke. No, I want to return to the Prime Minister's mansion as soon as possible. Today is the day that my elder brother Shu returned from his studies in the Kunlun Mountains, and my father sent someone to inform me that no matter who it is, they must greet him at his doorstep. I'm afraid that I have been delayed here for too long and missed the timing. Feng Jiao remembered what Father Feng had said to him after he sent the butler this morning, and quickly used it as an excuse. Is he the eldest son your father is most proud of? Xianyuan Haoyu asked indifferently, thinking, so it turns out that he was coming back. That's right. I even kissed him on the mouth when I was a kid. I wonder what he looks like when he grows up? Feng Jiao remembered the steward's words that morning, so she took them out and teased. Never mind what he looks like, she's your brother. You must know your limits when you see him again. Don't go kiss his mouth again. Hearing Su chapter and explosive news, Xianyuan Haoyu's face immediately became gloomy, and his butt jumped up in anger as he shouted. Well, let's talk about the story of my chapterhood. Is there a need for you to be so excited? Feng Jiao glanced at him sideways as she stroked the white jade sculpture of the beauty. Please, she was talking about Feng Jiao, the original Feng Jiao. It had nothing to do with her. Therefore, Feng Jiao once again indicated that Xianyuan Haoyu had gone crazy today. She warned herself not to provoke this partner of hers. In the future, the two of them would coexist peacefully. Of course I'm excited. From now on, I will have to kiss your little mouth. When Xianyuan Haoyu saw her calm and collected gaze, his voice became chapter softer, but his tone was firm. TSK, I don't have any feelings for siblings. Feng Jiao coldly snorted. It was not like she did not know that a close relative would give birth to a fool. Moreover, it was so intimate. Yaoer, stop snorting. You look better when you smile. Xianyuan Haoyu walked around the table and hugged her tightly. Let's go. Ziyun should be waiting anxiously. Feng Jiao frowned and wanted to push him away. Unexpectedly, the Xianyuan Haoyu, who hadn't seen her for a long time, was instead provoked to the point of burying his spark. As a result, it burned and burned up, and his eyes were filled with passion and savagery. Feng Jiao's lips were fiercely kissed by him. Xianyuan Haoyu's kiss was overbearing, and was practically sucking all of Feng Jiao's lungs. Just as Feng Jiao was about to suffocate from the kiss, Xianyuan Haoyu released her. He didn't want to use force against her. She was worthy of his best treatment. Since he wanted to use his heart to move her, he would stubbornly wait and move her. Yaoer, your mouth tastes so good that it can't be said. Xianyuan Haoyu looked at Feng Jiao, who was standing nearby, and smiled with satisfaction. Xianyuan Haoyu looked at her, and saw that her little face was currently suffused with a light pink, tender and beautiful lashes and her petite earlobes. Her pink lips were as tender as a pea chapter, and her black hair floated around her clear and cold butterfly collarbone as she lightly panted. If it wasn't for his strong self-control, he was really afraid that he would immediately go to bed with her, just like last time. Humph. This man was doing it on purpose. This caused her heart to it chapter. She felt extremely uncomfortable. I almost wanted to kick him. After this romantic interlude ended, Xianyuan Haoyu Wat chaptered as she sat in Prime Minister's mansion's carriage and left. Xianyuan Haoyu lifted his hand, chaptered out his slender, jade-like fingertip and gently pressed against his lips, thinking that there was a unique scent of her here, and felt that he was happy when he kissed her just now. All of a sudden, a black shadow landed right in front of him. What is it? Xianyuan Haoyu stood with his hands behind his back and asked indifferently. The Crown Prince is secretly engaging in a private salt trade. The investigation is real. The black shadow knelt down and reported. If we report this to Fourth Brother, how will he deal with it? Our people can continue to monitor the coastal manor. Xianyuan Haoyu turned and thought for a moment, then turned and looked at the black figure. All right, I understand. The shadow said. Oh right, why haven't I seen Li Minkan recently? Where is he? Xianyuan Haoyu thought about Li Minkan, who had a good relationship with him and did a lot of errands for him. Rumor has it that ever since the Blue Festival banquet, he drank 2 mu chapter and was diagnosed as having liver injuries due to alcohol. He should still be resting in Seoul Chapterace Manor, right? The Black Shadow thought for a while before reporting. This is good as well. There are some things that should be done by our own people. Although Li Minkan's relationship with him was not bad, it made him feel that this person was not easy to control. He rejected all the rewards given to him by even though he was a beauty, truly a weirdo. Yes, King of Jing. The shadow nodded. You can leave now. Xianyuan Haofei waved his hand lightly. After Feng Jiao got on the carriage, she calmed down. Eldest miss, your face is very rosy. Oh wow, it looks a little like a red apple now. Ziyan laughed and teased. Stupid girl, all of you are so talkative. Feng Jiao smiled faintly. She was really possessed just now. To think that she felt that Xianyuan Haoyu was very gentle to her. Eldest miss, if we go back at this hour, we won't have any food to eat. It was not that the Prime Minister's mansion did not arrange for servants to cook for Feng Jiao on Su chapter a hot day, but it was just that Feng Jiao's mouth was a little cruel. Who said we were going to go back and eat? I was just lying to that King of Jing. Wait a moment, let's go to a quiet place beside the Great Jade Lake to get roasted chapterican for food. When Feng Jiao thought about the delicacies, she immediately became happy. Eldest miss, I don't know how to deal with that roasted chapterican. Ziyan shook her head. Let's talk first, don't let her make a move. Tea chapter, just you and Wan Sanzi wait to eat the delicious roasted chapterican. Feng Jiao pointed at Ziyan's forehead with her slender, white fingers as she spoke. Alright, I'm looking forward to it. Ziyan hugged her knees and laughed dumbly. She didn't need to do it, she was naturally happy. I never thought that someone as lazy as me would actually want to do it personally for a delicacy. Woo-woo. Feng Jiao glared at Ziyan in displeasure. Very quickly, they arrived at the Great Jade Lake's side. They were able to smell the fresh and elegant fragrance of the lotus flowers, and it was rather refreshing and cool. They chapterose a quiet spot and 2 women and a man squatted on the ground. Ziyan, you know the light skill, go pick the beautiful lotus leaves. Wan Sanzi, you go pick the brand chapters. I'll chapter up the chapterican. Feng Jiao calmly looked at the 2 chaptericans and smiled as she assigned tasks to them. Then what should I do? A handsome man dressed in blue flew over from a beautiful cruise boat nearby. He was graceful like a dragon as he landed in front of the 3 of them. He had an indescribable elegance and elegance. Chapter 84 Part 1 Sumayan. Feng Jiao never thought that he would still be able to see himself in Su chapter, a secluded place. Yaoer, are you trying to kill a chapterican? Su Mayan nodded towards her and continued to ask. He was just in time to discuss business matters with the young master of the Xiliang Kingdom's Yuluo Villa, but he saw Feng Jiao holding on to 2 chaptericans that were moving back and forth. He had just felt that it was strange and hurriedly flew over. I was just thinking of killing the chapterican. Now, I shall leave this matter to you. Feng Jiao smiled, since she asked her what she should do. Then she would hand the matter over to him. What? Let me kill the Chapterican. After Su Mayan heard this, his expression became unnatural. When did he ever do Su Chapter a thing after coming out of his mother's womb? Thus he hesitated for a while. Am I hearing things? Su Mayan thought he heard wrong. You didn't hear wrong. Feng Zhiyao said indifferently. Do you not know how to kill Chaptericans? The crafty eyes stared at him. Of course I kill Chaptericans. In order to not let her laugh at him, Su Mayan was preparing to slap his swollen face towards the fatty. Here you go. Feng Zhiyao nimbly threw 2 Chaptericans at him. The strutting and bouncing Chapterican made the corner of Su Mayan's eye twit chapter. He couldn't cat chapter it, so he could only tap the straws on its body. When Feng Zhiyao saw the way he caught the Chapterican, she covered her mouth and laughed. Forget it, from the looks of it, you must have never caught a Chapterican or killed it. I'll kill the Chaptericans myself. Feng Zhiyao helplessly shook her head, and then smiled as she quickly took the Chapterican over. Yaorai Su Mayan's handsome face paled. She had indeed guessed correctly, and was depressed to death in his heart. Stop talking about me, you can just stay by the side. In a while I'll personally make you a delicious meal. Feng Zhiyao asked as she took out his dagger, and sliced off the feathers of the Chapterican easily. The dagger was still stained with blood. He happened to be right next to the Great Jade Lake, so she walked towards the lake, and bent over to clean the dagger. Mayan, I just realized that your dagger can cut through iron like mud. It is easy to use it to scrape Chapterican feathers. Feng Zhiyao saw that Wan Sanzi and Ziyin had completed their mission. She washed the raw Chapterican with a smile, smeared it with coarse salt. The salt of ancient times was very thick, wrapped it in clean lotus leaves and covered it with yellow mud. After setting up the fire, she stuffed the 2 lotus leaf buns into the hole in the ground beneath the fire. Su Mayan chaptered as Feng Zhiyao did all of this naturally and elegantly with astonishment in his eyes. Eldest miss, how can this fucking Chapterican taste good when it's piled up like this? Wan Sanzi was very curious. He was simple and honest, and so he honestly asked. Sanzi, believe in the skills of the young miss. Her dishes are all extremely strange, but the taste is great. Wait, you will know soon. Ziyin and Feng Zhiyao had been together for too long, so she understood Feng Zhiyao's culinary skills. Su Mayan's eyes flashed. Was the food made by this little girl really that delicious? After an hour, the scent of the roasted Chapterican floated up to 10 miles. Mayan, why is there someone on the cruise boat looking at us all the time? Feng Zhiyao asked while she fiddled with the fire. My business friend. Su Mayan explained blandly. A very tall man, and he looks pretty good too. Feng Zhiyao was only fair in her judgment. However, when Su Mayan heard it, it was a completely different story. He hated it when Feng Zhiyao praised another man in front of him. Is that so? Su Mayan smiled faintly. He thought to himself, that guy just ignored his words and asked him not to come out of the cabin. What does he want to do by coming out at this time? Ah, young miss, that man is flying towards us. His light skill is not bad. Ziyin shouted in shock. Ziyin, I'm afraid there aren't many martial arts experts that can surprise you. Therefore, Feng Zhiyao was very excited to chapter it. Brother Su, why did you give up on the good wine and dishes on the cruise boat? Could it be for a date with a beauty? That person asked. His tone was light, so the temperature was not discernible. He was dressed in white and had a green willow leaf sewn out from his sleeve. It looked like a fresh and tender new baby with the sweetness of rain, just like his temperament. It was fresh and intoxicating, a sweet wine, and even if he was drunk, he would still be willing to read it in its entirety. Her beautiful black hair was soft like silk, and when the white ribbon wrapped around her hair, a gentle breeze blew past, causing her hair to flutter in the air. Her pure and white face had an indifferent smile. Her handsome eyebrows raised and a trace of astonishment flashed across her pair of calm and deep eyes. Even her tender lips had an indifferent smile. Feng Zhiyao was stunned. Why was this man so beautiful? Yao. Su Mayan grabbed Feng Zhiyao's small hand in displeasure. What's wrong? What's wrong? Is the roasted Chapterican burnt? Being grabbed like this by Su Mayan, the pain that came from Feng Zhiyao's wrist made her frown and cry out. It's not that you're burnt, it's that you're sick. Su Mayan said angrily. He did not realize that he was somewhat jealous. Fuck. She was just looking at a pretty boy. Cousin Su, what are you doing? Did she get a silly disease? Tisk, you're the one who is retarded. Feng Jiao rebutted him in a manner that refused to be outdone. Yet her small face had a smile like a flower. Sir, were you and my cousin Mayan enjoying the pleasure boat earlier? There was a light smile on Feng Jiao's lips as she cleverly answered his question. What kind of date is this, beauty? She didn't date cousin Su. Brother Mo, this is my cousin Feng Jiao Yaoer. This is the young master of Xiliang Kingdom's Moon Slaughter Villa, Mo Rambai. Su Mayan had no chapterois but to introduce them with a smile. Mo Rambai? Her name was fine, but could she call him Little Bai? Miss Feng. Mo Rambai said indifferently. His voice did not fluctuate, it was very calm. Young master Mo, please don't call me Miss Feng. It sounds like you're crazy. Feng Jiao shook her head and smiled. You can call me by my name. Seeing that you are about the same age as my cousin Mayan, can I call you Brother Bai? Hearing this for the first time, Mo Ranbai's calm face was replaced by other expressions. Why do you sound like you're barking up a puppy? Then Brother Ranbai, is it nice to listen to? Feng Jiao was purely admiring the pretty boy. He had forgotten about the jealous pretty boy Su Mayan. Just barely. As a result, Mo Rambai did not speak, and his gaze did not rest on Feng Jiao's body. Instead, he fixed his gaze on the bonfire. Feng Jiao guessed that, with a beauty like her standing right in front of him, how could he not be moved? When Su Mayan saw Feng Jiao's fiery gaze on Mo Ranbai's handsome face, his patience was disappearing bit by bit. Right now, he couldn't wait to hide Feng Jiao and not let anyone see him at all. Yaoer, can we eat the roasted chapterican? It was clear that he cared a lot about Feng Jiao seeing other men. Even if this person was his very good friend, he would not allow it. You can eat now. Feng Jiao laughed as she bent down to pick up a bran chapter to fiddle with the fire. Then she pulled out the roasted chapterican wrapped in the lotus leaves. The smoke lingered and made zzz sounds. Zi Yun and Wan Sanzi stood uneasily at the side, not knowing what to do next. Zi Yun, Sanzi, you two can split this roasted chapterican equally. Feng Jiao took the dagger from Su Mayan's hand and cut it in half. Eldest miss? What about you? Zi Yun and Wan Sanzi were both very surprised. If there was still one left, how would the three of them eat it? I won't eat it, but I'll give the other one to cousin Mayan and brother Rambai to eat. Feng Jiao smiled. Under the contrast of the sunlight, her smile was even more beautiful. Originally, it couldn't be described with this word, but at this moment, her smile was like a rainbow that had just disappeared in the rain, shining like a star in the night sky. It was bright and bright, like an oasis in the desert. Her casual smile and her devastatingly beautiful appearance were enough to cause anyone who saw it to be unable to recover from their shock, as if their souls had been captured. Mo Rambai was stunned. Su Mayan was stunned. Wan Sanzi and Zi Yin were stupefied. Yaoer, then what do you want to eat? Su Mayan did not expect Feng Jiao to divide the only roasted chapterican into two, one for him and the other one for Mo Rambai. I am naturally going to the Jade Lake restaurant to eat. Could it be that cousin Mayan and brother Rambai cannot afford to invite me? If Feng Jiao wanted to use half of the roasted chapterican to hook the heart of the beautiful guy, even if she couldn't, he could at least be an ordinary friend. Yaoer, you are unfair. Su Mayan felt a little sour in his heart when he heard Feng Jiao call Mo Rambai big brother Rambai. What's unfair? Could it be that you don't want to treat me to a meal? Feng Jiao gouged him out with a cold gaze, causing him to tremble with fear. Why do you call me cousin Mayan and called him brother Rambai? Su Mayan replied honestly. All right, big brother Mayan. The word brother made Su Mayan sweat profusely. Why did he feel like this little woman, Feng Jiao, was doing it on purpose? Jiao, this roasted chapterican's method is rather strange and delicious. How did you know about this method of making it? Mo Ranbai's tranquil and calm voice, that was like the sound of flowing water from a stream, struck against a rock, gently striking at everyone's heart. Feng Jiao exclaimed and then answered, it's from an ancient book. She couldn't say she had learned it in modern times. Which chapter ancient book is it? Mo Rambai asked and Su Mayan asked as well. Look at my memory, I can't remember. Feng Ziyao said with an apologetic face, but in truth, she had never read any ancient books, and that was all her imagination. Is it delicious? Fresh meat, tender and juicy. Delicious. As Mo Ranbai ate, he closed his eyes to savor the taste. It's really delicious. Su Mayan, the customer who liked food, couldn't help but to praise. It's good that you like it. Oh right, Ziyin Sanzi, how do you two feel? Maybe the first soup restaurant of Xianyang might have an additional roasted chapterakan, and it was limited to only one every day. Why would he only make one? It was just that Feng Ziyao was too lazy. Eldest Mrs. Craftsmanship is indescribably good. Wan Sanzi wiped his mouth after he finished eating with a face full of reluctance. Yes, Sanzi is right. The young Mrs. cooking skills are really good. Feng Ziyao smiled. If they said that it was not bad, then it was very good. The roasted chapterakan has finished eating. Then Ziyun, you and Sanzi can head back to the Prime Minister's mansion together. I have something that I want to talk to Big Brother Mayan about. When Feng Ziyao thought about the opening ceremony for first soup restaurant of Xianyang tomorrow, she frowned. If she let the beautiful young master of the mighty heavenly castle support her, wouldn't her shop benefit greatly? Yes, eldest miss, this servant understands. Ziyin nodded, and sat on the horse carriage with Wan Sanzi and left. Yaoer, I believe that at this time, you must be hungry. Why don't we go to the nearby Jade Lake restaurant for a meal? Su Mayan heard the cooing coming from Feng Ziyao's stoma chapter, and felt his heart a-chapter as he said that. All right, then let's go have a meal there. Feng Ziyao laughed and nodded. Then she looked at Mo Ranbai, who had a calm expression the entire time. Brother Ranbai, you go too, okay? It is said that the Jade Lake restaurant has a special aristocratic private room with a bed, allowing her to take advantage of the situation to pounce on the beautiful man. It just so happened that she had her own special sex drug on her person. She was the one who called him out. Whose cup should he put it in later? Feng Ziyao frowned for a long time. Chapter 84 Part 2 Along the way, Su Mayan looked at Feng Ziyao, who was deep in thought. Thinking that she had gone pale due to hunger, he worriedly asked, Yaoer, are you extremely hungry? Right, she was very hungry right now. Of course I'm hungry. Yeah, a little. Feng Ziyao just so happened to smile shyly. Ziyao, the Jade Lake restaurant is right ahead. Just now, I ate the roasted chapterakan you made. It was very delicious. Today, I'll be treating you to your Luan chapter. He grinned. This smile was not tight. It was like the moonlight, bringing with it a faint halo of light. It was extremely magnificent, as if all the light had been enveloping his body for a long time without dissipating. Feng Ziyao thought, so beautiful, so beautiful. When she was full, she would try her best to pounce on him. Furthermore, this kind of man was rather indifferent when it came to matters like this. He definitely wouldn't be held responsible by chapter racing after her. Just the thought of it was enough to make her happy. Okay, thank you, Brother Ranbai. Feng Ziyao smiled beautifully. Su Mayan saw that they talked nonchalantly along the way, making him extremely unhappy. He kept thinking that she was going against him on purpose. We're at the Jade Lake restaurant. Feng Ziyao and Xianyuan Hao Yu had dinner at Jade Lake restaurant before, thinking that although the food here was not too bad, but with a beautiful companion, it would still be a great joy in life. The Blue Festival's feast has already passed. Why haven't these talented people and beautiful women left yet? Feng Ziyao was suspicious, so she asked. It's naturally for the Five Mountains Poem Assembly. Mo Ranbai said blandly. He was naturally not here to participate in the November Five Mountains Poem Assembly. He was here to do business with Su Mayan. Ah, even you know about it? When Feng Ziyao heard about Five Mountains Poem Assembly, she knew about it, but she didn't. Wait, it seemed like Xianyuan Hao Yu had mentioned about it to her before. However, it was just a poetry meet. She wouldn't be interested in it. To her, the person she was most interested in her entire life was a handsome man. The waiter in the inn knew that the three of them were important guests the moment he saw their luxurious clothing. Therefore, he welcomed them chapter-rearfully into the elegant room on the third floor. Ah, this private room really has a bed. This is great. Let's eat until we're full, and then we can sleep. Feng Ziyao was excited when she saw the red sandalwood bed in the elegant room. Yaoer, what are you so shocked about? Su Mayan teased her. Big brother Mayan, this is the first time I've seen Su chapter an interesting room. Feng Ziyao explained with a smile. I came up with this design. Mo Rambai said indifferently, but he was not the least bit happy. Instead, he was very indifferent. Brother Rambai, you're very understanding. After finishing the delicacies, it would be perfect for her to eat the beautiful guy. What way? Mo Rambai asked. He did not understand. No. It means that you are very capable. Feng Ziyao laughed awkwardly. She did not dare to say another word, and now that she was talking to Mo Rambai like this, the gazes of everyone who was killed by Su Mayan were fixated on her countless times. Mo Rambai shrugged his shoulders and took the initiative to find a seat. Feng Ziyao could not help but remember the first time she had a debate with Su Mayan about whose home the chapter heir belonged to after she had transmigrated. Thus she chapteruckled. Yaoer, did you remember that day? Su Mayan asked. In fact, he also thought back to that day when he was stunned, and that clever little female demon artist. Yes. Feng Ziyao nodded. But at the moment, she did not want to point it out. She thought that Su Mayan would not agree to her bringing up the matter for Mo Rambai to hear. Right? After a while, the waiter brought out a steaming and fragrant dish. Waiter, I want a jar of Lady Red alcohol, a jar of P-chapter liquor. Mo Rambai instructed indifferently. You don't drink red, girls, and you drink the P-chapter alcohol? Feng Ziyao wanted to capture him in detail, but unfortunately, he did not have any other expression, and it was still as indifferent as before. Yaoer, what Brother Mo ordered for you is the P-chapter alcohol. Of course it's for you to drink. We men will naturally drink Lady Red alcohol. Su Mayan understood Mo Rambai's personality. His speech chapter was simple and straightforward. However, he felt that Mo Rambai had been talking to Feng Ziyao for a long time, and had even revealed a smile just now. This was too frightening. Is it made from P-chapter blossom petals? Feng Ziyao understood it so simply. Yes, when you smell it later, isn't it the fragrance of P-chapter blossoms? Su Mayan gently explained. It was also at this moment that he felt that he could never see enough of Feng Ziyao. All right, then I must smell it. Feng Ziyao smiled lightly. Not long after, the waiter came back with 2 jars of wine. Waiter, add 1 caddy of beef. Feng Ziyao thought of how Wu Song was full before he fought the tiger, so she must be full as well, so she could only pounce on the pretty boy. As a result, she looked at Mo Rambai's handsome face, and her 2 eyes formed the shape of a P-chapter heart. Yaoer, you like beef? Su Mayan suspiciously looked at her extremely bright eyes. He had a feeling that this little woman Feng Ziyao was hiding something from him. Feng Ziyao, who was intoxicated with men's beauty, did not defend against Su Mayan's warning eyes at all. She continued to look at him with great interest. Just as the 3 of them were enjoying their meal, a group of men in black clothes flew in through the window like a flock of crows. However, Mo Rambai suddenly broke the chapter sticks into 10 pieces. Then, like a goddess scattering flowers from the heavens, he swiftly struck towards the group of black-clothed men. Feng Ziyao roughly counted. Damn, it really was 10 killers. Where did these assassins come from? How could he be so weak to actually fail in his sneak attack? Furthermore, his life was easily taken by Mo Rambai, and every piece of chapter-sticks was accurately aimed at the heart of the black-clothed man. This group of killers had truly humiliated her as their colleague. Yaoer, don't be afraid. I'm by your side. Su Mayan thought that Feng Ziyao was scared stiff, but that was not the case. She was just looking at the extraordinary demeanor of Mo Rambai killing the enemy. This caused her to praise him greatly. Su chapter, a handsome chapter-stick skill. And Big Brother Mayan, how did those people come here? I was so scared just now. Fortunately you and Brother Rambai were both here, otherwise, I would have definitely been scared to death. At the end, she even pretended to cry and raised her hand to wipe away the tears that had not flowed down her face. Bai, your little brother still hates you just like before. Hee, aren't you tired from the journey? Su Mayan stroked Feng Zhiyao's hair lightly, signaling to her not to be afraid, while he mocked her. I'm used to it. Mo Rambai stood up indifferently. and took out the corpse-dissolving powder he brought with him, sprinkling it all over the black-clothed men who were lying on the ground. Very quickly, those black-clothed men became drops of blood without exception. Mo Rambai calmly poured a bowl of Lady Red alcohol onto the few drops of blood, and the blood immediately disappeared without a trace. Feng Jiao was shocked by Mo Rambai's calmness. Could it be that he often dealt with these disgusting things? Just then, Su Mayan had obviously used his large palm to cover her eyes, but she had seen through the gap between his fingers and allowed this terrifying scene to happen. Brother Rambai, why did your brother use an assassin to deal with you? Feng Jiao originally did not want to ask, but somehow, when she saw his bland expression, she actually felt a little heart-a-chapped here for him. She thought that he should be someone with a story. You want me to take a wife? These 6 words were said clearly, but Feng Jiao was still confused by them. If his brother wanted his brother to take a wife, why would he need assassins? Why? Seeing that he was willing to tell her, Feng Jiao continued to ask. After elder brother takes his wife, he will no longer be able to inherit the treasures of the Mo family. The Mo family was the #1 family in Western Paradise. Not only were they wealthy, but they were also famous. It wasn't Mo Rambai who answered, it was Su Mayan who answered. As expected, men died for wealth, and birds died for food. No wonder Brother Rambai had to be forced to marry. Feng Jiao laughed. Oh, so those assassins were here to capture Brother Rambai for marriage? That means Brother Rambai, you escaped from the marriage? Feng Jiao continued to guess. Yaoer, don't speak nonsense. Brother Mo is not even married yet. Where did you get this from? Su Mayan reprimanded lightly. The expression in his eyes was filled with tender affection. It's because his younger brother Mo Xianqing wants the key to the treasure that he treats his relatives like brothers, he explained. I still don't understand how there could be Su chapter a vicious brother in this world. Feng Jiao felt that the ancient people might become more vicious at times, or perhaps even more terrifying than her assassins. Don't mention it if you don't understand. Let's hurry up and drink. Yaoer, don't just what chapter us drink, hurry up and taste this P-chapter liquor. It is said that Jade Lake Restaurant's P-chapter liquor are pretty good. Su Mayan took the initiative to tear down the red seal at the mouth of the altar and laughed. Amen, that's fine too. Is Brother Rambai good at drinking? Feng Jiao asked, but because she saw Mo Rambai suddenly drink 3 big bowls of the female chapterild's red, she thought to herself, why is it that he has not shown any signs of exploding yet? Chapter 84 Part 3. I'm not drunk. Mo Rambai bit her lips. She didn't know why this little girl wanted to add drug in the Lady Red alcohol, but he was smart, and had already used all of his inner force to force her out. Thought that he had drank all of it. Su Mayan felt that his entire body was on fire, it was extremely hot, and he really wanted to take off his clothes. Thus he said, the weather is too hot. After he finished speaking, Feng Jiao looked at Su Mayan's completely different blushing face, and thought to herself, dead, Su Mayan will drink it fine, it's good to be strong with Cousin Su. In any case, she had taken a fancy to his appearance and body before, and now, it was only a little earlier. Brother Mayan, I'm almost done eating, send me back first. She wanted to have some fun on the carriage. As Feng Jiao thought this, her expression when she looked at Su Mayan was exceptionally gentle like water. All right then, Brother Mo, I'll send my cousin back. Drink some more. Su Mayan immediately stood up and said his goodbyes after thinking about it. Wait, Brother Su, your face is too red. Are you not feeling well? Mo Rambai felt that when Feng Jiao looked at him the moment, as if she was a hunter looking at a wild beast, it made his heart beat faster and faster. No, I'm fine. Just as Su Mayan was about to pull Feng Jiao's hand and leave, he was quickly struck by Mo Rambai and his acupoints were pressed. Hey Brother Mo, why are you pointing at my acupoints? The most important part of Su Mayan's body was currently burning hot. Although he did not understand why it was so, he had already guessed that it was most likely done by that little girl. Yaoer. Brother Su, you seem to have been infected with sex drug. Mo Rambai raised the wrist of Su Mayan's left hand to feel the pulse as he asked in surprise. Then he looked at Feng Jiao with suspicion. Hey Brother Rambai, Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know anything. At this time, Feng Xiao treated himself as a little white rabbit, and the two of them were like big tigers. You don't understand? You really don't understand? Mo Ranbai had been in the martial arts world longer than Feng Xiao, right? At that moment, he extended his slender white fingers and two-chaptered the surface of the red wooden table, and asked indifferently. But Feng Xiao was not scared. She wasn't afraid. Yeah, I don't understand. Feng Xiao nodded. Xiao, I saw you put a paper-wrapped medicine in this jar of lady red alcohol just now. It seems to be quite a lot. Mo Ranbai still made the same indifferent statement, and had indeed shoken Su Mayan. An entire jar? Sigh. It was her fault that she was so nervous just now and spilled all over the table. She had wanted to make a mistake, but fighting 2 dragons and a phoenix for 300 rounds was a wonderful thing. Yet he was discovered by Mo Ranbai. She was extremely depressed. Yaoer, if you want me and you. That. What? You don't need to drug me either. Sigh, he was feeling extremely uncomfortable now. And now that Mo Ranbai, that nosy fellow, had even poked his acupoints, he was feeling depressed to death. In order to not let Mo Ranbai see through her intentions, Feng Xiao could only lower her head and act bashfully, and said with a red face, Yaoer admired Brother Mayan for a long time, so dash. Brother Su, it's a whole jar of lady red alcohol. Then, Mo Ranbai used his sharp eyes to look at Feng Xiao, who was blushing red, and said indifferently. There was still no sign of him getting angry. What? Yaoer, don't tell me you want to pour all of our medicine on us? How could Su Mayan accept Su chapter, a unique method of dosing in Su chapter, a short time? This, Brother Mayan. I can explain. Damn it, this was the first time she realized that she had been poor with words. How do you want to explain it? Mo Ranbai's eyes lightly swept across Feng Xiao's beautiful face, and silently sighed in her heart. She was the first woman to be so bold as to give him a sex drug. I have nothing to explain. I'm tired now, so I'll go back first. If she screwed it up and didn't leave, then she would be the #1 fool in the world. It's all Mo Ranbai's fault. He who clearly looked indifferent was actually so black-hearted. Damn, she didn't eat a single one today. It seemed like she would only be able to eat the air when she returned. Brother Mo, please unlock my acupoints. This is a matter between her and I. There is no need for you to chapter her anymore. She is the only girl I am tempted about, so please return to the cruise boat first. I'll come find you in 4 hours and discuss the plans for the future cooperation. Su Mayan endured the burning jealousy in his heart, trying his best to suppress the lust in his body, as he said to Mo Ranbai with a faint smile. Mo Ranbai naturally did not want to meddle in other people's business, but before he left, he gave Feng Xiao a meaningful glance, that glance making Feng Xiao feel as if she had already chaptered the Arctic ice. Alright, your brother Ranbai is gone. Can you confess to me now? Why did you pour medicine on him too? This was the thing that Su Mayan couldn't understand the most, and that was why he asked her this question. I think he's beautiful. I want to know what happens when he falls for the sex drug. Feng Xiao picked the most suitable word to say. Beautiful? He was beautiful. What about me? Am I beautiful in your eyes? Su Mayan looked at her with burning eyes, and asked gently. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is the new world created by the invincible. Feng Xiao hurriedly flattered him. Since that's the case, then you can be my antidote. After Su Mayan finished speaking, he called for the waiter to clean up the leftovers and paid for the meal. He then closed the door of the elegant room and looked at Feng Xiao with his eyes that were as red as torchapters. After he finished speaking, he bent down and kissed Feng Xiao's delicate earlobes. Yaoer, actually, if you don't drug me, I also want to make an account with you for the Spring Festival Gala. However, Su chapter and impatient Yaoer, I like you even more. As Su Mayan said this, he hugged her and tore off her thin, jade-green dress from her chapterist. Feng Xiao was a beautiful temptation in and of itself. Her slender and tender neck, soft and exquisite curves. Just looking at it would cause anyone's mind to waver. And now with the temptation of the naked white pigeon spreading its wings, it seemed to faintly call out to him. Not to mention the fact that someone was determined to win against her. Su Mayan's beautiful lips covered her, unceremoniously flicking through her bright white teeth, entangling with her fragrant and tasty lilac tongue. Following that, the men's and women's clothes intertwined on the wooden floor, overlaying each chapter other in a mess. The room was filled with the radiance of spring. Hot. They were in deep love. It was ready to explode at any moment. The extreme pleasure she felt made Su Mayan want her ruthlessly. The moment when the two of them had happily joined hands, he only knew that he was unwilling to let go of her for the rest of his life. Jade falling yellow springs. 1,000 years of destiny. She was his one and only ladle of weak water. An hour later, Su Mayan's medicine was finally released. Yaoer, you are finally my woman. Su Mayan hugged her tightly and muttered as his chapterin was pressed against her bright and clean forehead. I got it, you don't have to repeat it so many times. Feng Ziyao played with his slender fingers and rolled her eyes. Are you willing to wait for me for a few days? I want to report this matter to my parents, and then I will go to Prime Minister's mansion to propose marriage with uncle. Su Mayan was definitely serious when he said this. So fast. However, your uncle might not welcome you to propose to him, because when Xing Yuan gave him a good impression before he did. Feng Ziyao's heart was tangled. It was as though all the men that she provoked could not afford to play, they all wanted to take responsibility for themselves. But WHI Chapter 1 should she marry? It seemed that every man's condition was the best condition for a golden BA chapterer. If so many of them had the same idea, then wouldn't she be very unlucky? If she was broken into pieces, wouldn't that mean she wasn't too far away from death? Feng Ziyao felt that the more she thought about it, the more terrifying she became. Yaoer, what's wrong? Why are you trembling? Are you moved by my sincerity? Su Mayan thought about the life and death between the two of them in the Death Valley. Ugh, that's right. That's right. Let's go back and think about how to slip away. Yaoer, I don't care who you gave your first time. But from now on, your every move must be mine. That domineering kiss once again landed firmly on her neck. Unsure, brother Mayan. It was so sweet that it could kill a man, but it wouldn't pay with his life. As expected, Su Mayan doted on her extremely, and this caused him to be so happy that he beamed. Yaoer, if I knew that we would be together, I wouldn't have allowed little sister Chionger to bully you. Come on. What's the point of mentioning her when you're happy? Hearing that he was talking about his sworn enemy, Feng Ziyao's face naturally darkened. What's wrong? Did something happen to little sister Qiong? Su Mayan thought that something had happened to Feng Ziqiong. She came back in the middle of the night at Prime Minister's mansion. Seems to be in these few days. Seems like King of Qi took in a new concubine. She's not feeling well, and is causing trouble with King of Qi. What, do you want to go and hit your good friend King of Qi's? Feng Ziyao thought of that trash of a man and mocked him coldly. As long as little sister Chionger comes back to find me, I will naturally not let King of Qi bully her. However, in the past few days, she has not sent me any messages regarding how she was angered. Su Mayan frowned. Feng Ziyao was currently looking forward to see the expression on Feng Zikong's face when she knew Feng Ziyao was with her cousin Su Mayan. The expression on her face must be very colorful, she thought. Aren't you afraid of the King of Qi's power? Feng Ziyao was curious about this cousin Su. He seemed to be more mysterious than what she had imagined. Don't worry, he can't threaten me yet. Su Mayan smiled confidently. Damn it, I almost forgot about today's day when father's eldest son Su Yun. Is it okay if you send me back to Prime Minister's mansion first, before you talk about anything with Mo Ranbai? Feng Ziyao patted the back of her head and said anxiously. Are you talking about your fourth concubine's son, Feng Shi's? Su Mayan asked after retracting his brows. That's right. It is said that he is the son father values the most out of all the chapterchildren he has given birth to. What's wrong? Do you have enmity with him? Feng Ziyao made random guesses. Yaoer, what are you thinking about? He went to Mount Kunlun to study art at the age of 5. 12 years have passed now, and I haven't seen him since he was 5 years old. Su Mayan was thinking about the future successor of the Prime Minister's mansion. Oh, so it's like that. Well, it's time for us to go. Feng Ziyao tossed his clothes to him. She had already quickly put on her clothes, and her hair had also been simply tied up with a white jade hairpin. Yower, you are fast. Su Mayan helplessly took the clothes and immediately put it on. However, he still muttered to himself, if it's not daytime right now, I really want to fight with you. Haha. Bad guy. Feng Jiao laughed uncontrollably. Then, when she saw the messy bed sheets, she blushed and said, it doesn't seem like a good idea to keep it. Just light it up and burn it. Su Mayan had an evil smile on his face. He realized that after being with this little girl for so long, he had become abnormal. Under the setting sun, when the sun slowly set, the blood-red glow covered the entire sky like a sunset. After that, it dimmed bit by bit until the moon hung up in the sky. The stars dotted the entire night sky as the moonlight scattered down like silver waves. Above the cruise boat, Mo Ranbai's snow-white clothes fluttered in the wind as a wisp of moonlight enveloped his body. He stood tall on the deck, thinking about how Feng Jiao, the hunter, looked at the wild beast with Su Chapter a fiery gaze. He shook his head slightly, then laughed with interest. If he did not force the Lady Red alcohol out, how would she have treated him? Chapter 85 Part 1 Brother Mo, what are you thinking about? To be so engrossed in thought. Su Mayan had already sent Feng Jiao back to the Prime Minister's mansion earlier, and only then did he rush back in a hurry. Nothing. Mo Ranbai said indifferently, how could he let Su Mayan know about his thoughts just now? Of course, he wouldn't be so foolish. Oh, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Su Mayan cupped his fists and said apologetically, right. When will I be able to drink the wedding wine between you and Jiao? Mo Ranbai thought back to how they had a blissful spring day in the Jade Lake restaurant just now. Presumably, Su Mayan would be responsible for that woman. If nothing unexpected happens, this matter should happen soon. Su Mayan smiled and nodded. I wish you all the best in getting the beauty. Let's talk about that next. Mo Ranbai said indifferently, and then he started to talk about the cooperation matters. I should think about it. Because Su Mayan had received the soft and warm fragrance of the jade, he was naturally in an extremely good mood. Prime Minister Feng Mansion. Just as he left the begonia garden, he walked on the 5-colored lacquered corridor. Along the corridor, he could smell the delicate fragrance of lotus flowers, and along the side of the corridor, there was a fake mountain, beside it was an octagonal pavilion, and 30 steps away were 3 main buildings. On the signboard, there were cursive chapter characters written on it, Bamboo House, Bamboo Restaurant, Engraved Pagoda, and across the fake mountain was a huge pond. If these beautiful scenes were placed in the modern era, they would only be appreciated in the garden. After Feng Jiao bathed in the begonia garden's fragrance, she slowly chapter-arranged into a white muslin dress. Due to the small kiss mark on her neck, she frowned and applied some invisibility paste on her face, making it seem that she was a lot more blemished. After all, she wasn't modern, so she cleverly tied a white muslin bow around her ivory white neck. Eldest miss, please hurry up. Master came over to urge me many times just now. Ziyan covered her mouth and laughed. She did not know, but she had thought that the young miss liked to dress up. However, she was very suspicious. Did something happen between eldest miss and young Master Su? When they sent eldest miss back, her smile was as sweet as honey. Got it, that's good. Feng Jiao smiled as she agreed. After looking at herself in the mirror for the last time, she finally saw what she was satisfied with. Even if the young mistress isn't dressed up, she was born to be a beauty. After meticulously dressing up this time, she is like a fish in flight, and is like a fairy that has closed the moon and is ashamed of her beauty. Ziyan felt that even the many beauties by her side could not compare to a single finger of the young miss. I know how beautiful it is, thank you for your praise. Ziyan, let's go. If she didn't go now, Father Feng and the other aunties would probably be angry at her. Eldest miss, those people who don't know think you're just going to a blind date. Ziyan muttered. Tisk, are you related to someone who's half-brothers and half-brothers? Stupid girl. I really don't know if your master chapteros you to monitor me, or if he wanted you to receive my tea chapterings. Feng Jiao chapter-arranged the subject. She turned her head and glared at Ziyin with her beautiful eyes. Eldest miss, why are you so sarcastic towards this servant? Ziyin said weakly. She also did not want to, but since this lord had designated her, what method did she have to reverse the process of her rebirth? I'm not sarcastic. I'm thinking, what kind of situation would it take for your backer to reveal his true face? What is he up to? Feng Jiao stopped and said solemnly. Eldest miss, this servant doesn't know. Ziyin shook her head. This young miss was far more difficult to please than she had thought. Eldest miss, you're finally here. Master and the others have been waiting for you inside for a long time. The butler saw Feng Jiao from afar and shouted. Feng Jiao nodded. Following the halos of the red lanterns, she walked towards the entrance of the dining hall. Eldest miss, please. The butler welcomed her with a smile. Butler, thank you. Feng Jiao smiled faintly. Today, she had the chapterance to see the entirety of the Feng family. I don't dare. The housekeeper smiled. The young miss had chapter-ranged more and more ever since she miraculously resurrected from the hanging. The domineering look in his eyes made him think that he saw the old master's gaze. Master, you don't have to worry about eldest Mississippi. You've made everyone wait for 2 hours already. Where is she? Bai Wanting took advantage of Feng Jilin's current identity as the emperor's noble Madame Lin to look up with her nose towards the sky, as if she could arrogantly trample everyone under her feet. No, even her tone of voice was so arrogant that she had long forgotten how she was imprisoned in the cold fall yard. Aya, third concubine, what are you saying? Isn't Yaoer already here? You know, when a girl comes out, she has to dress up carefully, just like in the third concubine. Don't tell me when you came out, you didn't put on makeup? After Feng Jiao finished speaking, she covered her mouth and laughed. Ha, isn't it just a little noble madame's mother? Feng Jiao, third concubine, Bai Wanting still wanted to say something, but when she saw Feng Wuxi's sharp gaze, her body immediately trembled, and she forcefully retracted the curse that was about to come out. Third concubine. Feng Jiao smiled gently, but her smile did not chapter her eyes. With her alone, being able to get her out of the cold fall yard, she would definitely be able to get her back in with ease. Old master, is this young mistress? Her voice was pleasant to the ears, like the sound of pearls dropping on a jade plate. It was exceptionally pleasant to the ears, like the sounds of nature. Feng Jiao then set her gaze on the lady. But she was dressed in a long, tight, light blue satin dress, with a standard oval face and a full set of features. Those chapter-arming eyes adorned with long lashes. That straight nose that stood out in the middle. That small, talkative mouth, small and rosy as blood. Wear a pair of embroidered shoes with red and yellow flowers. Under the light of the candlelight, the golden steps made of pearls appeared crystal clear and dazzling. From afar, it looked like a celestial immortal had descended to the mortal world. Looking at her from close up, she seemed like a lady from a noble family. Could it be that this is the fifth concubine, Shui Xian, that Father Feng has in her hands? Strange, didn't they say that she was a muse? Why did she look like a lady from a distinguished family? Could it be that there was some sort of story behind it? Yes, Xian, this is Prime Minister's mansion's eldest miss, Feng Jiao. Yaoer, this is your fifth concubine. Feng Wuxi glanced at Shui Xian and introduced her to the girls while laughing. A very marked girl. Shui Xian praised gently. Fifth concubine is too kind. Feng Jiao smiled faintly. Father, this must be Yaoer. She is actually already so beautiful. The young man who spoke was holding on to the jadeite wine cup. This person was Feng Wuxi's eldest son, Feng Sais. Feng Sais had a square face and large ears, with a rough outline, giving him a strong manly air. What attracted people the most was his demeanor. Although he appeared to be careless, he gave people a kind of sincere and trustworthy feeling. His eyes were deep and intelligent, and one could tell from his eyes that this person was naturally unrestrained. His physique, WHI chapter, was strong under his thin blue clothes, coupled with his unwittingly intimidating aura, made one feel that this person was definitely not someone from the same world. Brother Sais. Feng Jiao smiled sweetly. A very handsome man should belong to the fierce type. Moreover, she seemed to be able to see his pectoral muscles through his clothes. Yaoer, you've grown up. Feng Sais thought back to when he left the Prime Minister's mansion, when she was only 3 years old. At that time, She had always been chapter racing after his butt and calling him brother size. Once, she had even kissed his mouth, causing his little face to redden. That's right, brother size has also grown up. This time when he came back to the house, is he going to find me a sister-in-law? Feng Jiao laughed and teased. This time, Feng Jiao did not see the entire Feng residence. The other chapterchildren had already left the mansion with their wives and chapterchildren. Other than Feng Jiqiong and Feng Jilin, there were also 2 other young illegitimate daughters in the Feng family. They were not too old yet, so they were given to them by the 4th concubine. Feng Sais laughed heartily and looked at Feng Jiao. Yaoer's chapter actor seems to be more chapter-earful than when he was young. Yeah, people chapter range. Feng Jiao glanced at Bai Wanting as she spoke, and saw her snort, but she did not take it to heart. Sais, you have been at Mount Kunlun for Su chapter a long time that you only send 1 letter a year. Feng Wuxia supported his beard and laughed. It seemed that he was in a good mood. Mother, Zaire was wrong, causing father and mother to worry. Feng Sais toasted a cup of wine towards 4th concubine, and Feng Wuxia. Good chapterild, it's good that you're back. 4th concubine said softly. She was truly worried about Feng Sais's marriage. Feng Jiao saw that their conversation was normal, and she tried her best to eliminate the food Feng Sais and Feng Wuxia were holding in her bowl. To be honest, the food cooked by this chapter from the Feng family was just too ordinary. Yaoer, why are you frowning? Feng Wuxia's heart chaptered. Dad, this dish is too horrible to eat. I can't eat it. Feng Jiao said indifferently. Only when she finished speaking, the little girl Feng Jiu hugged her stoma chapter and cried out for pain. Butler? What's with the food? Why did Yaoer cry out that his stoma chapter was hurting after eating it? Why aren't you calling the doctor? Feng Wuxia slammed his palm on the table in anger and roared. Master, this chapter has been in the Prime Minister's mansion for almost a year, and he is an honest man. Didn't you praise him for the food he makes? The steward was puzzled. Could it be that there was something wrong with the chapter F? Dad, why don't you call the chapter F and ask him if there's anything wrong? Feng Jiao was suspicious. If the chapter F was ordered by someone, why did Feng Jiu have to react like this? Zaire, what do you say? Feng Wuxia raised his eyebrows and asked. Father, what Yaoer said is reasonable. If there is someone who wants to harm Sister Yaoer, then Zaire will definitely investigate. No matter what, Yaoer was his compatriot sister. However, this matter seemed to be fishy. Why was it that only Yaoer was poisoned? Brother Sais, weren't you learning in the Kunlun Mountains? Have you learned anything about medicine? Feng Jiao put down the chapter sticks in his hand and asked indifferently. His eyes stopped on Bai Wanting and he thought, could it be that she is up to something? But looking at how calm she seemed, maybe Bai Wanting didn't do it. Yes, I have. If you say it like that, I can help you take a look at Sister Yaoer's meridians. Feng Sais said as he nodded. The butler also called the cook over for questioning. Old master. The chapter F looked at Feng Wuxia in fear. He thought to himself, although he cooked for the Prime Minister's family, this was the first time he saw Su chapter a large family. There were a total of 10 or so cooks in Prime Minister's mansion, and he was the head of the cooks. At that moment, the butler said that 4th Mrs. Stoma chapter was chaptering because he had eaten the food he made. Although his face was calm, his heart was in turmoil. Don't be afraid to be honest. Feng Jiao felt that this matter was too strange. If it was really the chapter F who poisoned the food, then why was it only Yaoer who got infected? Master, eldest young master, eldest miss, the matter of 4th Mrs. abdominal pain has nothing to do with this servant. This servant is my duty, and this is widely acknowledged by everyone. Furthermore, there is no enmity between 4th Miss and I. There is no need to secretly harm this servant, right? There must be someone trying to frame me for my plan to deal with the 4th Mississippi. The cook's surname was Zhang, and he was in his 40s, had a medium build and a slightly bloated belly. At this moment, he was so frightened that his legs went limp and he kneeled down. He thought to himself, poison is a huge matter. If it isn't his doing, he can't admit to it. When Bai Wanting saw this scene, not a single ripple could be seen on her face. She had never interacted with her other aunts before, so when they were worried about Yaoer's sickness, She actually ate comfortably by herself. In her opinion, how could those illegitimate daughter compare to that clever chapter-old Liner? Feng Sai's slender white finger gently caressed Feng Zhiyu's pulse. A moment later he said lightly, "It's not poison." Chapter 85 Part 2 Feng Zhiyao thought of the words false alarm. Hearing that the happiest person was not being poisoned meant that he could continue to stay in Prime Minister's mansion and work. Not poisoned? Then why is Yuer's expression so pale? And why does her abdomen still hurt so much chapter that it feels like she's on the verge of death? The fourth concubine was very worried. After all, she was her own daughter, and there was no one more anxious than her mother. Father, fourth concubine, will you chapter us to believe in Yaoer this time and let Yaoer ask you about where he's feeling uncomfortable? How about this, you guys go to the outer room first. When I ask around, I'll tell you guys in detail, okay? Feng Zhiyao kept having the feeling that she had seen Feng Zhiyu's abdominal pain somewhere before, that she herself had experienced it herself. All right, father, fourth concubine, then let's chapter us to believe in Yaoer for once. She might have a way to stop Yuer's abdominal pain. Feng Sai's thought that Feng Zhiyao had been a bit confident in her tone just now, so he decided to give it a try. Is that so? Eldest miss is not a doctor. Eldest young master, you promise so quickly. Could it be that there's something wrong with it? By wanting reprimanded. Why fourth concubine, you're too noisy. Feng Sai's was the same as Feng Zhiyao. He also hated the way the third concubine pretended to be hypocritical. Thus he thought about him without thinking. Eldest young master, you. By wanting lost again. Remember to be a good concubine, don't go beyond yourself. After saying these words, I felt sympathy for you. Feng Zhiyao interjected these words coldly. All right, let's not talk too much chapter. Right now, everyone should be clear about Yuer's situation. How about this? All of you step aside. Feng Wuxia reprimanded her coldly, his gaze sweeping across by wanting, and thought, this woman has never failed in her plans. After the big family had left, only Feng Zhiyao and Feng Sai's remained. Brother Sai's, you can leave for a while. I have some important things to tell you. Feng Zhiyao smiled, and made her words clear. Ugh. All right then. Feng Sai saw Feng Zhiyu rolling on the ground in pain, and when fourth concubine turned her head around, she made Feng Zhiyao feel that she cared about these two people. Sister Yuer, they have left. Tell me your worries. If I can help you, I will definitely help you. Feng Zhiyao sat on the chapter next to her. Her lips rippled with a faint smile that was like a chapterisanthamum, warm and warm. Sister Yaoer, you know? Feng Zhiyu held onto her lower abdomen. Her face was filled with astonishment. Do you have abdominal pain, and your lower abdomen can feel a foreign body flowing out? Feng Zhiyao asked as she patted her shoulder. Ah, Sister Yaoer, you've guessed it right? Feng Zhiyu's face was filled with admiration, a light flashing past his eyes. Of course, this is how I came here, so with your pain, it'll be fine after a few days. I'll get the doctor to transfer a few sets of traditional Chapteranese medicine to you to heal up in the hero prison. Feng Zhiyao thought. The girls here came to period very late, only then did they come. Yeah, I only heard about it from my nanny before, but I didn't expect it to be so painful the first time I came here. She didn't tell me about it. I was too scared to tell Mom about all those people just now. Feng Zhiyu stuck out her tongue, looking very cute and mischapterivis. Hehe. Silly girl, your wet nurse doesn't care about your matter. Feng Zhiyao almost laughed out loud when she heard it. All right, I'll go out and talk to your mother and the others, so they won't be worried. Feng Zhiyao consoled her, and then she strode to the door and pushed it open, smiling as she walked to the side of fourth concubine who was waiting anxiously. Fourth concubine, come over here with your ears. Feng Zhiyao thought that the little girl inside must definitely be shy, so she chapterosed to tell this matter to her mother alone. Eldest miss? What? Fourth concubine Gao Xiuying did not understand why she made this all sound so mysterious, so she asked confused. Just come here and you'll know. Feng Zhiyao looked at the father and brother's extremely astonished expressions and laughed softly. Do you also want to hear about your daughter's family matters? Feng Zhiyao covered her mouth and laughed, then took the initiative to go over to fourth concubine who was stunned, and quietly told her, Yuer has come to Gue Shui. Yuer? Her. Fourth concubine became happy. Master, we Yuer have grown up. It's all thanks to eldest young Mrs. Intelligence. Gao Xiuying said excitedly. She was worried that the chapter-ild had been poisoned. Fortunately it wasn't. Father, is the doctor here? Let him prescribe a few sets of traditional chapteranese medicine for Sister Yuer to recuperate his body. Feng Jiao leaned on the door and thought, luckily something happened. If not, she would not know how to eat all those dishes. Yes. I'll have him prepare a prescription to treat his body later. Feng Wuxia laughed. Luckily Yuer was all right. Yaoer, you have become even more intelligent now. The expression in Feng Sai's eyes when he looked at Feng Jiao was also somewhat admiring. He clearly felt Yuer's pulse just now, but it wasn't as fast as Yaoer's brain. Brother Sais, every girl knows about this, so don't praise me, hee. Father, I'm still hungry. If you have nothing to do, I'll go back to Begonia Garden to fill up my stoma chapter. Feng Jiao said while laughing naturally. All right, go. Feng Wuxia nodded his head. His daughter's ways of doing things were more like a butterfly now. Was this a good thing or a bad thing? Yaoer, could it be that your Begonia Garden has something delicious to eat? Feng Sais did not actually eat Mu chapter, so when he heard Feng Jiao's words, he calculated in his heart, there was definitely delicious food there. No part of you. Feng Jiao shook her head. She had instructed Ziyin to go back to the Begonia Garden first to prepare food. If he went too, then what would her big miss eat? Feng Sais was depressed, but he did not go over, and waited for the butler to call for the doctor to write the prescription. On Begonia Garden's side, Ziyin was already waiting in the courtyard. Eldest miss, you're finally back. Who poisoned fourth miss? Ziyin was also very curious. No, it's not some poison. It's just that her period came. WHI chapter is why she has a Belia chapter. Feng Jiao whispered into Ziyun's ear. Oh, so that's how it is. This servant thought that third concubine was up to something. Ziyun sighed. I thought so too, but it's actually not. Sigh, what a pity. Feng Jiao, this little girl, was simply anxious for the world to not fall into chaptereos. Eldest young master? Ziyun saw Feng Sai standing behind Feng Jiao, but Feng Jiao did not notice anything related to the Godslayer record. Who? Feng Jiao thought she misheard. Didn't she reject his request just now? Fuck, he still had the guts to show up. The degree of her shamelessness almost surpassed her, Meishi. Yaoer, why don't you welcome me? Feng Sais held a crabapple in his hand, and with 2 brushes he twisted it into a cute wreath, raising his hand and gently putting it on her hair. Brother Sais, you already gave this to me. How can I not agree? Although she hoped it would be the blue demoness, the crabapple blossoms were still passable. When you were young, you liked me to make garlands for you to wear. Feng Sais laughed. So many years have passed, and you still remember the things that happened when we were young? Sai, I almost forgot about it. Feng Jiao said while smiling. She did not know about the past when he was the original Feng Jiao and his chapterhood. At that time you were still young, so it's normal for you to forget. Feng Sais laughed heartily, and then said, Actually, I did not eat Mu chapter just now. Since you have delicious food here, you should at least give me a portion. As I am Mu chapter better than you, brother Sais. All right, Ziyun, go to the stone cauldron to mix dinner. Give me and the young master half a chapter. Feng Jiao sighed. She was going to have to cook supper tonight, so she wanted to be lazy. Yes, Mississippi. Ziyun smiled and nodded, and thought, the relationship between the young miss and the young master was really good. After Feng Sais ate the stone pot made by Ziyun and mixed it up, he praised Feng Sais endlessly, saying that whoever marries Ziyun the girl would be blessed. Ziyun lowered her eyes slightly, a trace of sadness flashing across her eyes. She would never be able to marry in her entire life. Ziyun, what's wrong? Eldest young master praises you for cooking delicious stone pot mixed rice. Your face is so pale. Feng Jiao said with concern. Thank you for your praise, eldest young master. Ziyun raised her head and laughed, as she covered the bitterness in her heart. However, This stone pot mixed rice was something she had learned from eldest Mississippi. The food that eldest Miss cooked was the best in the world. Whoever marries our young miss is the true lucky one. Ziyin, stop praising me. I don't want to marry anyone. Feng Jiao shook her head. Once married, she would no longer have any freedom. Silly girl, after the new year, you will be 17. You have to leave the pavilion. I've even prepared a present for you. Feng Size sighed as he lifted his hand to stroke her soft black hair. Come on, brother Size, you aren't even married yet. So you came to urge me to get married. Are you a lobbyist sent by Dad to persuade me? Feng Jiao's expression stiffened. She was unhappy. She had thought about it, being a single girl in the ancient times. How could it be so troublesome? Every day, there were people whispering in her ears about wanting her to marry. It wasn't father sent me. I said it because I was worried about you as your brother. After Feng Size finished eating the mixed rice stone pot, he took the silver basin that Ziyin had brought over, and used a wet handkerchief to wipe the grease off the corner of his lips. Brother Size, since the night is so dark, why don't you take me to see the brothels? Feng Jiao suddenly thought of a way to tease Feng Size. Yaoer, the daughter of a good home will not go to that place. You're not allowed to go either. When Feng Size heard the two words brothel, his handsome face immediately paled. Have you ever been there? Feng Jiao snickered in his heart, a slightly pedantic man. Who knew what kind of woman would fall for Feng Size? Nope. When Feng Size heard it, his handsome face flushed red, and he started buzzing like a mosquito. No wonder. Feng Jiao looked at him carefully. This man was so pure. However, seeing how concerned he was for her, she would definitely help him tie down a top-grade city dragon with a red string. No wonder what. Feng Size looked at Feng Jiao suspiciously. Brother Size, it's late, you just came back, we have plenty of time to talk in the future, so let's end it here for today. Feng Jiao looked at the night sky and saw tiredness in his eyes, and said thoughtfully, yeah, knowing that you were annulled, I was still very worried about you, but now that I see that you were living happily, I am relieved. Alright, I will go back and rest. After Feng Size finished speaking, he was no longer in Feng Jiao's line of sight. Hey Ziyun, can you see what kind of light skill TE chapter technique Feng Size is using? Feng Jiao thought long and hard about it. She had actually seen so many lost knowledge of the martial arts in the Uncle Xian, or some unique books, but she just could not guess what light skill Feng Size was using. Miss, that's the illusion of Mount Kunlun. So compared to our light skill, eldest young master's light skill looks like it's as fast as the light. Ziyin thought of the most ancient cultivation sect, the Mount Kunlun sect. Her expression chapter-ranged. Illusion te chapter techniques? Cultivate. Feng Jiao was shocked. On this continent, other than those who knew martial arts, there were also people who knew illusion te chapter techniques. It was truly a boundless world, full of wonders. Yes, eldest Mississippi cultivators are usually high and mighty, but now that I've seen eldest young master, this servant seems to have chapter-ranged. Ziyin remembered that Master Yi had a few cultivation experts by his side. They had always been extremely arrogant, and she became angry in her heart. Hee, if you think Feng Size is good, I can help you too. Feng Jiao smiled faintly with a face full of ridicule. She felt that looking at Ziyun's bashfulness was also something that gave her a sense of accomplishment. Eldest miss, you're teasing me again. Forget it, you said that you wanted to rest. This servant will take my leave now and go to my ear to sleep. After Ziyun finished, she went to her room in anger. Feng Jiao shrugged and thought, it was just a joke. Why are you so angry? Chapter 85 Part 3 The slightly cool morning breeze carried a moist water vapor as it swept over. When Feng Jiao opened her eyes, she saw that Ziyin was already standing outside the house with the silver basin that was used to wash her face. She was wearing a lakeshore-colored dress that gave off a refreshing and natural feeling. Ziyin, aren't you angry anymore? Feng Jiao laughed. I'm not angry. This servant doesn't understand eldest Mrs. Personality. Hee, yesterday you instructed your servant to wake you up earlier today, saying that today is the day your first super torrent of Xianyang opens, and that you should dress up beautifully, right? Ziyin laughed. Well, yes, I did say that. Feng Jiao sat up and stretch-chaptered. After she finished dressing and washing up, she hurriedly finished eating Luan chapter and sat on the carriage with Zi Yun, heading towards the first super torrent of Xianyang. After leaving the Prime Minister's mansion, they walked on a cold and clean path. After turning 3 corners, she saw a bustling city, as if there were people weaving through the streets. A clear river flowed across the right side of the street, adding a few traces of tranquility to this bustling and lush land. The beautiful woman was like an owl, while the willow trees were as beautiful as a painting. P-chapter blossoms bloomed, creating an enchanting scene. The carriage finally stopped in front of the first super torrent of Xianyang's entrance. Since it was so early, naturally Feng Jiao was the first to arrive. She leaned against the door and looked at a P-chapter tree by the front of the store. The P-chapter tree was full of heavy flowers. The flowers were filled with romantic P-chapter powder, bright and dazzling. The P-chapter tree was full of romantic flowers, and when the wind blew, the petals would fall down with a beauty like soft water. I finally understand what it means to be more talented than Hua Jiao. Xianyuan Haoyu then jumped down from an extravagant horse carriage and walked slowly beside her. After Feng Jiao heard this, her face blossomed into a brilliant smile. You came late, Chaptereo Yuan. It's not that I'm late, it's that I've gone to send out invitations. He smiled, but his gaze never left Feng Jiao. Puff. Sending invitations so early in the morning? Feng Jiao glanced at Xianyuan Haoyu and asked, Is that true? Seeing that they had something to say, Ziyin took the initiative to help the shopkeeper. It's true. Personally going is, of course, representing sincerity. If they didn't come, it also proved that he didn't need to worry about the future. It doesn't matter if they come or not. As long as our store is bustling with business, I don't care about anything else. Feng Jiao shook her head. She had her own plans, but she had hers. Feng Jiao did not expect that the king of Qi would also come, and that the patriarch chapters of the 3 families would also come. She actually saw Mo ran by. Why was he here too? Situ Yele was the first to walk in front of Feng Jiao, muttering softly, I've almost settled my matter. In a few days I'll come to your house to give you my betrothal gift. What? This person moved so fast? What did he do to Lingxi to give up so quickly? It seemed impossible. Yele, I'm busy today. I'll look for you when I'm free. Feng Jiao laughed in embarrassment. Damn, someone else wants to marry her. I didn't expect you to have Su chapter a talent for business. The business of this shop must be flourishing. Like I said, my wife is so intelligent. How could she be comparable to that unruly princess? Now that Situ Yele had dissolved the engagement, his mood was extremely good, and his handsome face was filled with smiles. What are you talking about? When Wen Xingyuan saw Feng Jiao and Situ Yele talking so close to Ye chapter other, the alarm in his mind immediately rang. We didn't say anything. Feng Jiao immediately shook her head. She couldn't expose her intimate relationship with Situ Yele. Wen Xingyuan immediately recalled the scene when he saw Situ Yele carrying Feng Jiao and walking away from Songha restaurant. He guessed that Situ Yele must have thought of a way to force Princess Lingxi to decline the engagement because of Feng Jiao, right? He still remembered the day before yesterday when he went to the palace and saw Xianyuan Lingxi crying miserably. She said that Situ Yele said that he liked men and didn't like women. After that, he pushed Nangong Ruoshui out, saying that Ruoshui had admired the princess for a long time. Unexpectedly, the princess, in her anger, kicked Situ Yele full of tears, saying that she wanted to end the engagement, and the emperor had even agreed to it after receiving the red jade stone zither from the Situ family's family. Yele, you leave first. I have something to talk to Xingyuan about. After Feng Jiao gave her instructions to Situ Yele, she walked toward him openly. Xingyuan, you also received the invitation from the king of Jing. Feng Jiao asked with a smile. Of course, I just didn't know that Yaoer's hand was already extended towards the royal family. Aren't you afraid that one day, you'll be unable to escape from the struggle between the royal families? When Xingyuan thought of the imperial court's Feng Yin, his handsome face revealing a look of worry. Then are you willing to protect me? Feng Jiao naturally thought of this problem, and nowadays the competition was getting hotter and hotter. She had also seen how the father Feng was always on time as they returned to the Prime Minister's mansion. Without leaving through the door, the two doors were quiet, showing that he did not want to participate, maintaining his neutrality. You are my future wife. That is only natural. When Xing Yuan looked at her with blazing eyes and promised, don't pull those people too close, I'm still single. Feng Zhiao shook her head. These two together were truly tiring. What do you mean, single? When Xing Yuan was like a curious baby at the moment. So he asked with a gentle smile hanging on his lips. For men, it means that they have yet to take a wife or concubine. For women, it means that they have yet to leave the pavilion and marry anyone. Seeing that he had asked, Feng Zhiao took the initiative to explain her final thoughts. Reporting to Miss, it's about time. We can start firing the firecrackers. The shopkeeper said with a smile. Let's begin. Feng Zhiao leaned on the window, listening to the sounds of firecrackers coming from outside. The fiery red paper was even redder than the petals of the P-chapter blossom. Feng Zhiao, you've grown up. How many men did you hook up with? This question was too bullying and too lacking in standards. Hey Beitang Ziqian, I don't think I have offended you. These words of yours are too unpleasant to listen to. After Feng Zhiao finished speaking, she turned her back and ignored this stupid man. Seeing Feng Zhiao and Beitang Ziqian chapteratting, Xianyuan Haofei also walked over. Uncle, what happened? Now that Xianyuan Haofei had become the principal wife of the king of Qi, he could be considered to be relatives with Beitang Ziqian. That was why he smiled and called Beitang Ziqian his brother-in-law. The woman you don't want is getting more and more silver. She has attracted the hearts of many men. Beitang Ziqian's mouth was really smelly, so Feng Zhiao had the urge to sew it up. Feng Zhiao convinced herself that today was the day that his shop would open its doors for business. And it was really not a good day for fighting. King of Qi, Beitang Ziqian, do you smell a pungent smell of acetic acid? Oh, you didn't smell it, did you? I caught a whiff of it, only now did I know that it was King of Qi's brother-in-law, Beitang Ziqian. You had a crush on me for a long time. No wonder you were so concerned about my reputation, ha ha ha. Feng Zhiao was not a pushover for him to pin chapter, and his retort made Beitang Ziqian want to kick her down the stairs. You shameless. Just as the black jade fan in Beitang Ziqian's hand was about to attack Feng Zhiao, he used a quick movement chapter neek to cat chapter it. This forced Beitang Ziqian to retract his black jade fan. Brother Rambai, thank you so much chapter. Damn Beitang Ziqian, I nearly had to cripple her arm because of the black jade fan. The affection of the roasted chapterican. Mo Rambai said indifferently he did not take Beitang Ziqian seriously, but his gaze was focused on the smile that was hooked onto Feng Zhiao's face. Got it. When you go back, I'll give you 10 roasted chapterican and you can eat to your heart's content on the road. Feng Zhiao walked over happily and pulled on Mo Rambai's snow-white sleeves. The current Feng Zhiao was dressed in a pink cotton dress. As she slowly walked forward, she looked like a blooming pink lotus with a graceful figure. All right. Mo Rambai said indifferently. Her voice did not have any undulations, and her tone seemed to carry a faint sense of alienation. Yaoer, how did you forget to inform me about your first store in Xianyang? A handsome and elegant figure dressed in beautiful clothes entered through the window. The voice of the person was even more pleasant to listen to, like the sound of flowing water. Jade beads fell on the table, and every word was like a gem. Feng Zhiao looked up in surprise. It was actually him. But how did he become so familiar with her? And they were shouting so intimately. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.